Good evening, board members, teachers, administrators, parents, students, and all of those community members who took time out of their schedule to be with us this evening. We greatly appreciate your interest and support of our students and our efforts to serve them, and we look forward to hearing from you regarding your thoughts and concerns about district. Let's start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Madam Chair, before I need to say something, and I think this is the appropriate time for me to say it according to Robert's rules. From my research, and please stop me if I'm wrong. A member who votes on a prevailing side of a motion has the right to, on the next session, make a motion to reconsider. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, you are.
I am a member who voted on the prevailing side of a motion ACAA, and I would like to reconsider my vote on that motion. So it's on the floor. That motion's on the floor.
All right.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion to reconsider. We have a second. Do we have any discussion among board members?
Is there a way we could just change Melissa's vote? And not have the whole thing re-voted? I have to look up Robert's rules for that.
I think we do have to take another vote.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of, I'm sorry?
Wasn't that motion tabled?
Not ACAA. ACAA you voted on, and I was on the prevailing side of that vote.
Okay, so that wasn't the one that was,
Tabled ones were the protocols, so ACAAR and ACABR were tabled for some clerical kind of things.
okay, thanks.
Are there questions, clarifying questions or comments? So we have a motion to change a prevailing vote, which means we don't need a.
Is that what-
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Nope, I'm good. Okay.
All those in favor of revoting, please raise your hand.
Can I just, wouldn't it be added to the agenda for a revote? Isn't that, because
If the motion, I want to reconsider my vote. So my understanding is the process would be if the board voted to allow that, it would just be an item added to the agenda. And the motion would come back as though we had never voted on it, and it would be a revote. So what you would be voting on now is to allow it to go to the agenda.
All right, I motion it. Okay, I do understand that. I don't know that we're prepared to do that this evening. But I do believe that we could pass the motion and do the revote at our next board meeting.
Yeah, however it doesn't have to be discussed. The discussion piece of it can happen anytime after. It doesn't have to happen tonight. My understanding. Anyway.
That's correct.
For point of order, are we motioning?
I have a
To
motion
rescind
to
it.
reconsider
So we vote on that motion?
on it going on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all that is.
Okay,
Okay.
so we have a motion to reconsider a vote
ACAA.
on policy ACAA. And this will require a revote. All of those in favor of allowing for this reconsideration and revote, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lauren?
Lauren, are you still with us?
Yeah, I was gonna vote no.
Okay, thank you.
So we have 5 in the affirmative and
No.
1, 2, 4 in the negative.
All right.
So the motion has passed and we will move that agenda item to our next board meeting.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Kate. I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda, a discussion regarding the evidence necessitating the alarming message sent to our school community on Saturday.
okay. Before you make that motion, Josh, I would like to allow Supervisor Robey and myself to be able to make two statements. And I believe we've talked about that with our attorney, and I believe that that's allowed under Robert's rules. So if you would hold that motion until after our comments, I would appreciate it.
Is that on the agenda?
No. Or the statements, are they on the agenda?
These are statements that don't need to be.
They do not need to be.
Okay.
So I would like to start tonight's meeting by providing some clarity regarding the policy updates that the board implemented at our last meeting. On December 18th, 2025, the MSAD 60 Board of Directors approved routine updates to 3 district policies. AC, which is the non-discrimination, equal opportunity, and affirmative action. ACAA, unlawful harassment and sexual harassment of students. And ACAB, unlawful harassment and sexual harassment of school employees. These updates were necessary to ensure the district remains in compliance with current federal and state laws. The revisions primarily reflect new legal requirements, including the Federal Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, passed in 2022, Maine's Crown Act provisions prohibiting hair-based discrimination, and updated in 2023, Maine Human Rights Act citations. Additional protected categories were added to align with these laws, including pregnancy or related conditions, familial status for employees, and parental, family, and marital status for students. Importantly, these policy updates did not introduce new transgender-specific policies, bathroom access provisions, or controversial gender identity measures. Protections for sexual orientation and gender identity have been part of MSAD 60 policies since at least 2019 and remain unchanged in the December 2025 revisions. The board was conducting a routine review of existing policies when questions about transgender issues were raised during discussion. These topics were not part of the proposed policy language, nor was the district seeking to add such provisions. The core structure, definitions, complaint procedures, and fundamental protections in all 3 policies remained consistent with previous versions. Nothing in these policy updates made any changes to existing school rules regarding transgender students. Since our last meeting, social media posts and some news coverage mischaracterized the routine legal compliance updates as the district adopting radical new policies. This is simply not true. In reality, the December 18th, 2025 revisions were technical updates to reflect current law, correct legal citation errors, and ensure consistency with model policies recommended by the Maine School Management Association. MSAD 60 remains committed to maintaining a safe, respectful, and legally compliant environment for all students and employees. The district follows all applicable federal and state laws regarding non-discrimination and equal opportunity. These December 2025 policy updates fulfill that obligation and do not represent a change in the district's approach or values. As superintendent, my decision to increase police presence for Monday was made out of an abundance of caution following the volume and tone of social media comments related to the recent policy discussion. Some of those comments were unsettling to parents and staff, particularly given the timing of students returning from school break. The additional presence was a temporary preventative measure intended to support a safe and orderly return to school, reassure families and staff, and ensure we were prepared should any concerns arise. When faced with any potential threat to student safety, our responsibility is clear. We must act decisively and err on the side of caution. I stand by this decision and would make it again based on the facts that existed at that time, and I will always make decisions that best protect the safety of MSAD 60 students and staff.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Finally, I would also like to respond to the rumors and innuendo that have spread regarding a supposed student incident. While it is highly inappropriate to discuss any kind of student matter in a public meeting, I believe that this clarification is necessary given the misinformation spreading based on a board member's comment at our last meeting. I want to confirm that no student has been suspended from school based solely on an incident of misgendering another student. Each time school administration responds to an incident of alleged misconduct between students, it addresses the situation carefully and deliberately and takes steps necessary to support all students involved. I was deeply concerned about the spread of inaccurate information about this matter and see it as a perfect example of why these kinds of student-related issues are inappropriate for discussion in public meetings.
Thank you, Superintendent Bovee. I would also like to provide some clarification for the community regarding the actual responsibility of school board directors as prescribed by Maine state law and our MSAD 60 Code of Conduct for board directors. In the state of Maine, a school board director's core responsibility is to manage public education by working to set broad policies, goals, and budgets, hiring and evaluating the superintendent, who is our chief executive, overseeing property, and approving instructional standards, rather than managing the daily operations, which fall to the superintendent and her staff. Maine school board directors represent the entire local community, you, balancing the needs of students' education and welfare with our fiduciary responsibility to taxpayers in our 3 towns. We are public officers accountable to state law, not just voters' opinions, to provide quality education for all of our young citizens. We must approve and manage the budget, set tax rates, and oversee financial resources, balancing our students' educational needs with fiscal responsibility. And many times those decisions mean incorporating diverse opinions. Our role also requires, and this is most important, that we make student-centered decisions that align with the law and provide education commensurate with their needs and abilities, focusing on every student's success. In essence, we are stewards for the future by our student success, as well as stewards of the present in regard to our responsibility to our taxpayers. We're tasked with ensuring effective public education within financial constraints as outlined in the Title 20A of the Maine statutes. Critically, our job is not to substitute our own judgment for that of the full board or the administration, or to seek to affect or influence individual employment or student matters. Our job is not to use social media to inflame public opinion. Doing so seriously impairs the board and the administration's ability to perform its roles appropriately and to deliver on our commitment to serve our young people. As we've seen in the past 2 weeks, it can also endanger board members, employees, their families, and our children. And whoever is laughing in the front aisle, if you cannot keep your comments to yourself, you'll be asked to leave. I'm just saying, whoever.
I'm sick.
Unfortunately, we have seen this happen over the last few weeks. There have been tens of local, state, and national social posts regarding the passing of legally required policies at our December 18th meeting. These have all included inaccurate or partial information and do not reflect actions that the board or that schools in the district have actually taken. More concerningly, board members and employees have received threatening or insulting messages, some that target their families or businesses, again, based on incomplete and inaccurate information. Minimally, these actions are damaging to board members who volunteer their time and attention to improve their community. It's unfair and dangerous for the MSAD 60 employees who work tirelessly for the benefit of our children, often under extremely difficult circumstances, to make our schools and each student as effective and successful as they can be. It is also unfair to members of our community, you, who are left with half-truths and confusion about the intentions of this board and what is actually going on within our schools. In closing, I have a request for my board colleagues. I ask that you adhere to the principles reflected in the MSAD 60 Board Code of Conduct, which emphasizes respect, support for majority decisions, maintaining the confidentiality of information that you receive pursuant to your role as a board director, and that you refer any complaints or issues that you receive to the appropriate channels as outlined in the district policies and procedures. I know that board member opinions may differ, but sticking to these basic principles is absolutely critical and necessary in order for us to perform our public service appropriately and successfully. By doing so, we can focus on the important work that is in front of us without distraction or interference. We will face other challenging discussions and decisions in the coming months. We must act accordingly to avoid the vitriol and hate and division that has occurred during this past few weeks. Thank you. We'll now have our vice chair read the positioning statement for public input.
Good evening. The first public input session is a 21-minute session with each person having no longer than 3 minutes in which to make a statement. But a second public input session may be held at the end of the meeting if allowed by the board chair. Each speaker will give his or her name, address, and reason for speaking. Public input is designated for district residents, but the board chair may grant non-residents the opportunity to address the board. Statements concerning subject matter that falls under the law regarding executive sessions, for example, matters involving personnel, cannot be made during public input. We as a community pledge to treat each other as we wish to be treated. We pledge to seek understanding where there may be disagreement. Regardless of outcomes or opinions, we pledge to move forward with respect. This is time for comments and or questions for the board, but please be aware that questions may not be able to be answered at this meeting.
Thank you. Before we start public input, could I ask for a show of hands for those who will be speaking tonight in the public? And how many of you are actual community members?
Residents here in the district.
Okay, all right. So normally we have a 21-minute public input session at the beginning of the meeting, and we conclude the meeting with a 21-minute session. I'm going to extend the beginning public input session to 30 minutes. And I would like to remind you that each of you have 3 minutes in which to make your statement. Marissa or Melissa, do either of you have timers on your phones and you could act as timekeeper? I do. Okay, thanks so much.
I'm Thomas Stoker of Lower Main Street in North Berwick. Over the last few weeks, our town was dragged by Josh Tabor into the national news for not having in place policies that are required by law. The Maine Human Rights Act explicitly prohibits discrimination in education based on gender identity. The Maine Supreme Court in Doe versus RSC 26 and the Maine Human Rights Commission have established that schools must respect a student's gender identity. Further, Maine's anti-bullying laws 20A MRSA subsection 2554 prohibition on bullying in schools defines bullying as any expression that is based on a student's actual perceived characteristics, explicitly including gender identity, that has the effect of harming students or creating a hostile environment. It's important to remind all present that the school board's purpose is executive, meaning they implement the laws as written, not that they create policies based on their personal beliefs. If Josh wishes to change these laws, he's taking part in the wrong part of government, and I suggest he YouTube Schoolhouse Rock for an introduction to the legislature. Josh's advocacy against these policies appears to be a farcical political stunt meant only to increase his political visibility and has created risks for board members, students, faculty, and staff that have already incurred the costs of the police patrols and taxpayers. These policies are in place because the laws require them to be. Perhaps if Josh had paid attention during any harassment training, he would understand that for a student to actually get suspended for their actions, they would have to rise to the level of harassment, not just be a simple one-off accidental misgendering of a student. This level of harassment is defined as sufficiently severe, pervasive, or persistent to interfere with the other student's education. Therefore, his implication that a student would be suspended for the use of a non-preferred pronoun must surely be theoretical outrage for the benefit of his own political aspirations. What Josh also immediately fails to disclose with his discourse are two things. First, that his daughters that he's concerned about.
Excuse me,
You're getting,
we're getting a bit personal here. We'd like to probably tone down the
His daughters
personal.
don't attend the school. His discourse in public, in his previous board meeting, had hypothesized that they could be suspended. They don't attend MSAT 6.
Okay.
Mr. Hill,
This is my time. The cost of these lawsuits would be borne by taxpayers, not by Josh or the school board. Because we would be in violation of state law. These lawsuits are sure to lose. Not only would we lose these lawsuits and soon be harassed, but we would also be subject to lawsuits in the Maine Human Rights Commission, similar to those lost by MSAT 652 and RSU 24 as recently as last year. This may cost us up to $250,000 in legal fees, $500,000 for each student court ordered damages, $20,000 per incident of state penalties. This district's legal insurance would likely increase by up to 50% in cost. And I know that I don't wish to sponsor Josh's aspirations to the tune of nearly $1 million in additional taxes. It's my opinion that Josh's actions border on statistical terrorism by misusing misleading statements to manufacture outrage at a national level. If you piss enough people off, eventually one of them will do
You're
something.
at time. Thank you.
Sorry. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Tristan Forziati. I have been living in this community for over 20 years. I'm also a Youngblood alumni. I am here as a parent of a senior in this district who has an IEP since kindergarten. My son has been identified as needing special needs support his entire academic career. From an early age, he has struggled with regulation and learning, which has resulted in him going to John Powers when he was younger. When he was able to return in a public school setting, he was re-entered into the noble second grade. Since that time, I have consistently, over the years, have asked this district to please provide my son with a basic, appropriate education that will allow him to make meaningful academic progress. Despite those requests, his needs have not been adequately addressed, even with an IEP. During his sophomore year, my son has attended the Mary Hurd School. At that time, it was stated in meetings that the school did not have the capacity to appropriately educate him. The district requested that he be placed elsewhere. By his junior year, he was moved again, this time to the Sweetser School in Saco. Today, as a senior, testing still indicates my son reads at an approximately a 5th grade level and continues to fall significantly behind in math science compared to the expected graduation standards. The district is now attempting to graduate him while he may technically meet credit requirements, which he does not. He was hospitalized, so he wasn't there. I deeply am concerned that graduating a student who cannot read beyond an elementary level does not reflect meaningful education progress, nor does it prepare him for employment, further education, or independent adulthood. Graduation should represent readiness, not completion. My concern is that passing my son forward without addressing these fundamental defects places him at a lifelong disadvantage and raises serious questions about whether the district has met its obligation to provide free and appropriate public education. I am not here to place blame. I am here to formally and publicly state that I do not believe my son has received the level of instruction and readiness his documentation needed to require in order to graduate at senior level. I am asking the board to ensure that my concerns are entered into official record and that the plan and development that prioritize meaningful literacy and academic supports before graduation decisions are finalized. My son deserves more than just a diploma. The unmet needs. He deserves an education that truly prepares him for life beyond this system. The other thing I want to address is my son has struggled in this school, particularly with gender identity, for a very long time. It was a big impact on him socially too. Since being at the Sweetser School, my son is very confident in who he is. Regardless, he has more confidence as a person because they took all of that unnecessary socialism out of it and gave him the education that he needed in order to give him the confidence to make decisions clearly. That's all I have to say. I hope we do better. Ms. Leyland, my name is Virginia Reed. I'm a longtime teacher in the district, but I'm not a resident. Can I have permission to speak, please?
You may, as a member of our academic community.
Thank you. I want to start tonight by sharing that I have significant ethical concerns about the coordination of school board members with national political groups. It's become clear this year that there's a push by a number of our board members to bring controversial political topics into these meetings, seemingly with the sole purpose of creating chaos and in place of any real attempt to direct the operations of our district. This behavior led directly to the events of last week, and I feel as though there needs to be some accountability. This fall, the Press Herald did an investigative piece on this phenomenon, and this article was the result of a 6-month-long investigation, and I would like to read to you the following excerpt. After conducting dozens of interviews, viewing hundreds of hours of school board testimony, and sorting through thousands of pages of records, we found that national groups had aided a coordinated effort to staff Maine school boards with candidates who oppose pro-LGBTQ+ and diversity policies. Because Maine law doesn't require financial disclosures in most school board elections, it's impossible to trace how much money is flowing into these candidates and from where. An active network of outlets, social media groups, and influencers draw outsized attention to hot-button issues like diversity and transgender rights, encouraging local resistance and amplifying the fights until they reach the national level. And once these candidates win seats on school boards, they're instructed to intentionally stir up chaos and disrupt the district's work in order to call attention to their chosen issues. Community members who oppose their agenda may face online harassment. Does this sound familiar? It should, because this article also includes a map of 12 school districts in Maine identified as being part of this nationally funded effort and showing up we're on that map. For any member of our board to be taking money from outside groups and spending the board's time and resources advancing the interests of national organizations instead of focusing on local school issues is outrageous. And for me, it's also personal. I'd like to give you a sense of what the noise was like for our teachers this week in the form of some Facebook commentary. They're more concerned with brainwashing these kids than educating them. The only need for extra police presence is to protect the innocent children from the nutty, indoctrinated teachers. You all better do an about face. You idiots are the woke minority. Tell the teachers not to be pussies. They're giving kids books about performing sexual acts. It's these Democrat teachers that need to be bullied. History taught parents how to deal with these people. Yeah, it's called lead poisoning. Our teachers are here. Our teachers are not here to play the villains in this grotesque political theater. All we want to do is to teach our students. We want to teach them to read well and think deeply and to do long division. The constant distraction, the stirring up of chaos, the nonsense makes it harder and harder for us to do our jobs well. It makes our schools less safe. And it's sure as heck going to make it harder for you to attract and retain good teachers. I'm asking you to spend your time figuring out how to make our school district a better place for our students, not grandstanding for personal and political attention. If you hear lies and outlandish rumors about things happening in our schools, please speak up to stop them rather than fanning the flames. Don't attack our students, champion them.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Trevor Savage. I'm a 2009 Noble alum. I played football and wrestled here. I went on to Emerson College and then University of Maine School of Law. I live in North Berwick, built a house on Lake Hill a few years ago. And I'm an attorney representing victims of medical malpractice and corporate negligence. My wife and I have 2 sons who currently attend Noble Elementary School. This is my first time coming to or speaking at a board meeting. Like many of you, I watched the video of the recent meeting that, at least in my view, quite intentionally went viral online. I've also seen the discussion playing out online, and I'm concerned about not so much the disagreement in the community, but about the rhetoric that's taking hold in the district. Phrases like schools should just be about education, and this is social engineering. Children shouldn't be exposed to controversial social issues, and parents' rights are being overridden. This is too radical, too fast, too confusing for kids. One of the real benefits of a Noble education is that I was taught by some of the best history teachers, in my view, in the state, Meg Fox and John Hall, would expect this response.
Yeah,
I also spent years studying history, both my undergraduate studies and then also receiving my law degree. And what has struck me is how familiar this language is. When women were first allowed to study alongside men, social conservatives warned that co-education would be distracting, that schools should just focus on education. We now know in hindsight who was on the right side of history. Before and after Brown versus Board of Education, opponents of racial integration argued education first, not social reform. Parents should have the right to keep their children separate. Forced integration is just political. Again, we now know who was on the right side of history. When gay Americans sought equal protection under the law, including in schools, the arguments were education first, keep sexuality out of schools. Teaching tolerance is political indoctrination. Again, at least in my view, history has rendered its verdict. The phrase, just focus on education, is not neutral. Public education has always involved decisions about who belongs, whose experiences count, and what kind of citizens we are preparing our children to be. Excluding women, people of color, or gay students was never seen as political by those in power at the time. Inclusion only becomes political when it challenges existing ideas.
yeah. No, we can't do that as much as we just can't do
But you
it.
can come back and.
You can come back in the second half.
You can continue after our meeting, you can continue in public gov.
Well, good evening. I'm not a resident, but my stepsister has 4 children that attend various schools. And I might be moving up here at some point. Would that be?
If I could ask you to please hold your comments till the end of the meeting, we'd like to have residents and members of the academic community be able to speak at first. Okay, thank you.
My name is Amanda Turner. I'm here from North Berwick. I have 3 children, one who's gone through this district already, and I have 2 that are in the middle school and high school. I want to say good evening to all of you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here because I care deeply about the well-being of our students, the trust of our community, and the long-term health of this district. Over the past several months, many of us have watched growing concerns about the superintendent's lack of leadership. These concerns are not about politics or personalities. They're about performance, transparency,
Excuse me,
and accountability.
according to our rules of engagement, we don't allow attacks on personnel during this.
The first guy.
That's fair. Okay, can I finish, please? Thank you.
There's a difference between a board member and an employee of the district.
I'm not finished.
I read a statement.
A superintendent holds.
I'm sorry, I will-
the most
I will have to
important
ask you to
roles
stop.
In this
I
community.
will have to ask you to
That
stop.
position requires clarity, responsiveness, sound judgment, and the ability to build trust. When those qualities are missing, the district cannot function effectively. We also need to refocus on what truly matters, and that's our students and their learning. They deserve real-world skills, strong academics, and life lessons that prepare them for adulthood beyond high school. Classroom time should not be dominated by discussions about gender, religion, or other highly influential personal topics. Those conversations belong at home with parents guiding their own children according to the parents' values. Our students should not be concentrating other than on education. As a taxpayer, we invest a significant amount of money into this district.
In return, we expect to see strong academic performances, rising test scores, and learning environment that prioritize student success above all rest. Our students deserve better outcomes than what we're currently seeing. I'm asking this board to take consideration seriously and to evaluate what has been going on. The standards of leadership our district deserves is not present. I urge you all to consider a leadership change and to change our board members. Our students cannot afford another year of instability or inaction. Strong schools require strong leadership. Our community is ready for those who listen, collaborate, restore confidence in this district. Who will take our children's learning seriously? Thank you.
My name is Nathan Tibbs. I'm a student here at Noble. I'm a senior. Live on Maple Street right now in Berwick. I just want to come up here and just kind of rekindle kind of what Josh was bringing up at the last school board meeting. He kind of brought up that a girl had a bit of an incident in the bathroom where there was a transgender student, a girl into a guy that walked in the bathroom. And I've never been to one of these. I've never spoken to one of these. And I just kind of wanted to bring up how easily it was just swept under the rug, how you guys didn't really talk about it. It's kind of like you didn't care. And at 1754, I encourage everyone to look. It's Allie kind of gave a little laugh, and I kind of felt disrespected. I mean, I'm a student here, been going to this district my whole life, and it just feels like it's progressively getting worse. I've seen no improvement. I mean, you can look at the statistics. Our grades are going down. You have a 92% graduation rate and something like a 62% grade average. So it's not only the social problems, it's the way we're running our school is obviously not working. And as a student, I feel like I deserve an explanation, as well as my peers deserve an explanation as to why we're kind of almost being stupid about things. I mean, we're not even being able to answer the question if boys are allowed in the girls' bathroom or not. That seems like kind of a common sense thing. And I have no problem with transgender students. I have no problem with gay students, anyone, any race, any ethnicity, any sexuality you want to be. I feel like you should be able to be that and you should be safe. But when it comes to protecting our students, especially girls, they're very vulnerable. I mean, you can't deny that. When a girl goes into the bathroom, you expect it to be a safe place where they can do their business. You know, like Josh brought up, some girl had her period, and that's a very vulnerable time. You have a man walk in there and witness all that. It can be traumatizing, and it just feels like it was swept under the rug so quickly. And I feel like not only me, the students, the parents, but everyone deserves an explanation for why this was just completely ignored. But like I said, I encourage everyone to look. 1754 is like, you kind of get a little giggle, and it's just, it like really disappoints me how there's nothing being done. I just feel like it's going to progressively keep getting worse. And I plan to live here my whole life. I plan to bring my kids to school, but if I don't see improvement, I mean, you guys are going to lose students. You know, there's people senior year that are thinking the same thing. They've been in the school district their whole life. They agree things are getting worse. And I believe we deserve an explanation as to why things aren't getting better at all. And kind of want to go back to what our superintendent said about the whole thing kind of being mischaracterized. I don't think it was mischaracterized. I just think it wasn't, you know, your reactions were not expected by a lot of the parents. You know, like I said, you swept it on the rug, which kind of got a lot of people angry. You know what I mean? I don't think it was mischaracterized at all. And like Kathy said, she said the job of the board is to pretty much create policy to have the students in mind. And I think ignoring big problems that Josh brought up at the last school board meeting is not doing that. I think you guys gotta, you know, take time and just think about what your jobs are and kind of come back and try and establish things, because it's not going well.
Thank you very much.
Can I clarifying question, I just really want to clear this up. Josh, was that an actual situation that you presented about a young gal coming into the bathroom. Because I felt like that was something hypothetical you shared with us. And I want to know if it was actual, because I have not ever heard that prior to.
So it was asked as the conflict, as an example of the conflict in the policy that we were looking at. The question was, how does Drummond and Woodsum recommend our board address a conflict? Like, the situation is real. The situation did not happen here in Noble, but the situation is real. And I want to reiterate that I provided it as an example of the conflict of protected classes. And the response I got was, we follow the law. My question was not answered.
What I appreciate is that you brought in an example forward. What I really want to let everybody to understand is that did not happen at Noble High School. But it did not. And so that is where some of this is coming. But I'll stop.
You guys gotta shut
No,
up.
can we also talk about bathrooms? That we
Well, I thought we did, but we can.
did, no, I don't think anybody's
Mike's on.
explained our current bathroom situation, that there are single bathrooms at every school, that any student in this district, in any school, there is a single bathroom for them to use if they are are uncomfortable for anything. For instance, if I was having my period and it turned into something I was concerned about, I could A, go to the nurse's office, or B, use a single bathroom. And that is the situation at all of our schools.
Once you go to girl shots, that's all we want to know. Right now it is. That's the law.
It's not the law. It's not the law. That's implementation. That's not the law.
I think we need to,
Daughter?
Let's finish.
we need to come to order, please. We need to come to order, please. We need to come to order.
Hello, let's
We
finish.
need to come to order.
Please.
We need to
It's
come
okay.
to order. It is not your turn to speak. Could you please continue?
Polite, we are polite,
Thank you.
civil.
Chris Reed, North Berwick, Mill Street. I'm also a teacher back at the school recently, and I'm happy to be here. So if you could permit me, mine is not quite as heated because I'm an active teacher and I'm here tonight preparing for my students. And I just, as a writing teacher, pardon if it's a little bit polite. Community is not a slogan. It's a goal. It's a promise we make to our children. It's the tone of our voices in the rooms where decisions are made. It's the way we speak about one another when we disagree. And it's the example we set when we think no one is listening. Because children always are. A child cannot learn when the world around is fractured. They cannot wonder when they're bracing. They cannot dream when they're defended. Learning asks for courage, and courage is born from safety. As a teacher, I believe laughing, confident children can learn best because their mind is at ease. This is not simply theory to me. It's my pedagogy, it's my practice, and it is my promise to my families as a teacher. But we are living in a moment when the language of division has grown loud, when accusations spill into school board meetings, when sound bites replace listening, when families are othered simply because they're different or disagreed with. We cannot pretend this climate stops at the doors of our schools. It does not. Children feel it. And when they feel it, achievement suffers. Trust erodes and focus fades. This is not accidental. It's proven. When adults are at odds, children carry the weight. So we have to return again and again to the meaning of community. Community does not demand uniformity. Community demands responsibility. Community asks us to hold one another with care, even in disagreement. I know this because every day I'm invited into the worlds of children. I learn who they are, the writers and the race car lovers, the fantasy readers and the creators, the hunters, the musicians, the gamers, the fashion designers, the athletes, the leaders, the helpers. Until recently, I didn't know just how many vehicles it took to have a building company or do construction. Pretty impressive. In those moments, those ordinary, extraordinary moments, learning happens. Not because of pressure, but because of belonging. And that's the community our children deserve. Frustration will come, that's human, but frustration can be expressed without cruelty. Conflict can be handled as a team. Our children deserve to see adults who disagree with dignity and lead with grace. When we invite cruelty in through clipped headlines and manipulated conversations, We weaken the very fabric that holds us together. And once that fabric begins to fray, children feel the fear the most.
Aye.
Let us remember our role. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Honored board, thank you for giving me the time to talk. I'm Sophie Larson from North Berwick. I'm a middle and high school teacher here, a district parent, and also the vice president of our Teachers Association. I'd like to establish that everybody in this room wants the same thing. We all want our district to give the children the best education we can afford, and we also want our children and our staff to feel comfortable and safe at school. The last board meeting included a vote to keep current policies in place as mandated by state law. The board, of course, operates within state law. Since then, some board members have voiced their disappointment over that vote, in part online, and this has thrust our level-headed, caring, and kind community into the national spotlight and into a quite vicious debate in the online court of public opinion. Threats, some veiled and some more overt, have been made against specific board members and our teachers in general. Let me share what coming back after break has been like. We're at the end of the semester and right ahead of midterms. This week should be for review. Imagine the disruption caused by this media storm. Tuesday, my students would not stop talking about rumors they had heard during break. I had to call for my principal to navigate the discussion. Some of my students echoed disrespectful opinions about teachers, and it affects their behavior. Of course, as a teacher, I can handle these things, but I'm disappointed that I have to, and over a storm stirred out by my own board of directors. I call upon you all to model good citizenship. I will address the allegation also that teachers don't feel comfortable coming forward to voice their concerns and complaints. Of course, it's scary to speak truth to power, but in our district, we have association members in every building who are committed to hearing complaints and concerns and taking them forward to admin if the teacher is not comfortable doing so themselves. I'd like to next address test scores. There's no teacher in our school district that does not worry about the test scores of their students. A table of test scores is circulating online, and that graph actually shows that in fourth grade, over the last 3 years, ELA scores have improved by 8% at Knowlton, 7% in Lebanon, and 3% in North Berwick. Math scores over those same 3 years are even more impressive. Is there still a lot of work to do? Yes, but let's recognize that growth. We do not do state tests during senior year, I believe, but we do graduate kids, and our district has a high bar. We do not give them bonus points for participating, and passing happens at 75%. We have plenty of support in place to help kids meet those rigorous standards, and I believe their achievements are a genuine cause for celebration. Finally, and I'm not disregarding that we have work to do, but there's growth. Finally, I will share that teachers I've heard from are very uncomfortable because of the tone of the public debate. As vice president of the Teachers Association, I'd like to make my concern clear. I worry that good teachers will not come to work in a district where online atmosphere makes such negative national headlines. So I strongly oppose the vicious and personal attacks online. We must model decency if we wish our children to behave well in the world. I reject the online attacks against our school and our administrators. We cannot do our job without them. Continuing to undermine the respect for admin and teachers online does not serve our common purpose. And our common purpose is the well-being of all our students and giving all of our students the best possible education.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jay Levitt. I live in George Street, in Berwick. I'm here as a member of this community and as a parent of student kids in the Noble School District. I'm also here as a trans woman. This policy is something that can show kindness, empathy, compassion, and respect. Something I think we all want for our children. And I think I have seen some of these words hung up around the schools in the district. As trans people, we are too many times used as pawns for some agenda. Sorry. I am tired. I don't imagine how these kids feel. It takes so much energy to just show up like this and be here now. I live in fear, so much that I don't go into the bathroom in certain places. I'm not going to hold it for long periods of time. I'm sure there are kids in this district that are too afraid to use the bathroom at school and want to get home. Can you imagine being too afraid to do a basic human necessity? Time and again, we see policies implemented to take away basic human rights, not just in school districts, but law as well. That is why this policy is so important. It is not asking anything more and be a decent person toward others. There are a few ways in the world that I normally get misgendered. The first is an honest mistake. I am called sir. I say, I am not a sir. They respond, I am sorry. We both move on. The second is someone sees me, walks past me, makes a conscious effort that they're going to misgender me and keep on walking. They don't care if they hurt me. This is who this particular policy is for. Acts that purposely are malicious. I used to love sports, played everything. Nowadays, I can't watch anything. As kids, school and after school activities should be something that is fun and safe for them. There is no place for bullying of any kind. I just want to say, members of the board and teachers and even the people in the community, as hard as it gets out there, I urge kids, everyone, to not let things break you. Don't let anything dim your light. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment at this time? Yes? This will be the last public comment for this part of the meeting. And if you did not get a chance to speak during this first public input session, you'll have another opportunity at the conclusion of our meeting.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Rye. I am a resident of the town of Berwick, and I have 3 boys here in the district. And I am here because I have had enough of the school district picking and choosing which issues matter, which children matter, which rights are worth defending. I am a mother of 3. Our oldest son had an experience in MS 8060 that no child should ever endure. In 4th grade, our son was the victim of severe bullying. He was intentionally assaulted and suffered a concussion. That concussion was overlooked and minimized, even though it was serious and life-altering. It resulted in repeated trips to Boston Children's Hospital, countless doctor's appointments, extensive therapy. It was devastating to our family. When we returned to school, the abuse continued. He was kicked with steel-toe boots, fingers were smashed with metal water bottles. He was thrown into the lockers. He was threatened. And finally, he was stabbed in the face with a house key by our neighbor's son. He was recorded and posted on Snapchat while being called slurs. And what did the district do? We were told that the school needed to focus on the child causing the harm, not the victim. Let that sink in. Here's the painful truth. Had our son actually been a part of the protected identity group, this district would have been held accountable immediately. Outside organizations would have descended on this district without hesitation. But because he wasn't, our son was ignored. After relearning basic life skills, like how to make a sandwich, and by the grace of God, our son eventually returned and made it through this district. We learned throughout this experience this district does not protect all children equally. Gender ideology has taken precedence over student safety, over basic accountability, and over delivering a solid education. It has become the priority above academics, above transparency, above protecting children from real harm. Let me be clear. My personal beliefs do not align with this ideology. However, I believe every child deserves safety, dignity, and access to education. What I do not believe in is sacrificing one group of children to serve another. Protection should never be selective. I am here tonight to tell this board that I am not alone. I stand with many parents and community members who are demanding accountability, both as a board and as individual members. Self-reflection is long overdue. Therefore, I formally request that the policy currently being pushed forward be halted. that another public meeting be scheduled specifically to address these concerns and identify and follow federal law within our district. That this board finally listens to parents instead of dismissing them.
Excuse me.
We are not going away.
I'm
We are
sorry.
just getting started, and I am done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to all who stepped up and spoke this evening. We do appreciate, we do listen, and we will take all of your comments to heart. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of December 18th, 2025. Do we have any comments from the board as to the accuracy of those minutes? Lauren, I don't know if you're hanging in there, but did you have any updates that you wanted to add to the minutes?
No, I actually emailed Sue that I was good with them and thought they were great.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the 18th.
1 second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. It has been seconded. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of December 18th?
Yes.
I can't hear anything because he's making distracting comments to people over here. So I would like you to move somewhere else, please.
Sorry, I actually came from.
I just want you to
Please stop. Please stop.
Members who can't follow the.
Please stop. Please stop.
We do have to have order restored. I would ask that everybody please respect the rights of other individuals. If you would move over, that would be a good thing.
So Lauren, was that a yay from you?
As amended?
Yes, said yes.
Yes. Okay. So the minutes of December 18th have been approved. Next, we're moving on to a presentation from our IT department. We're going to be discussing cybersecurity in our schools. If I could ask, Bridget's right there. Bridget to come up and thank you very much, Bridget.
Good evening. I don't have a presentation prepared. Ally brought forward those topics, so I'm just here as a resource to support the conversation the board has around these topics.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh my God. Manager.
Ally, since you brought up this topic and you had an essay that you shared with the board prior to this meeting, do you want to kick off the discussion?
Sure. So I've had my eye on this for a while now. It's been something that I get approached by parents about quite a bit. But it's about the use of one-to-one technology. So one-to-one computers for kids K through 3. So I've been taking a child psychology class this year, along with some courses about early education. And what I'm finding consistently are the following 5 points. Kindergarten through 3rd grade, I'll read just the, highlight. Kindergarten through 3rd grade is a uniquely sensitive period for children to build essential skills, including oral language, attention, executive functioning, emotional regulation, literacy, and numeracy. Due to the differences in the needs of young learners, it is important that school policies reflect developmental science, which I know we do. Research supports that excessive screen exposure shows significant harm to cognitive and language development. Hands-on learning is proven to be more effective than digital instruction. Digital overstimulation diminishes self-regulation. Privacy risks disproportionately impact young students, and equity and cost challenges have shown to divert essential funds and resources away from more effective supports. So all of this to say, there's a lot of one-to-one computer use in our K through 3 classrooms. I think it stemmed from COVID and from the need for remote learning. And then it's been something that people are kind of grappling with as we move out of the COVID phase of remote learning. Most of what the research shows is that when you're heavily monitoring the computer usage for the child, so there's a teacher right there guiding them along, they can be a great resource, or when it's a shared community screen, something like that. My concern is that a lot of times kids are being given their computers and then they're able to kind of use them very independently in the K through 3 years. So some things that have come from this, call them the tech savvy children, but they're able to work around a lot of the firewalls and protections that our school has to watch things like music videos and things like that, that I really don't want them using that time for while they're at school. So while we're talking about ways to save money, I know we just lost a really amazing literacy consultant. So when we're talking about ways to kind of gain funds in those areas to potentially bring on ed techs and a second actual, another human into the classroom, I think we should be looking at phasing out our one-to-one computers K through 3 and applying some of those funds to more manipulatives, physical manipulatives, and supports in the classroom.
Would you care to address that, to speak to that in terms of your experience with our younger students?
Sure. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Sure.
So I'm happy to take any questions you have and answer them further. But I do have some resources that came up in the spring that we can revisit. I never was my secretary, but he's helped a lot. Actually, we need one. I think there's enough that I can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Probably one. And pass, that's right. So the first thing that I handed around was screen time at 3060 at the top. And it shares the screen time recommendations by age based on, like we discussed in the spring, the World Health Organization, with the Center for Disease Control, and the Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. I first want to say, I don't inherently disagree with anything Allie has to say. I support our youngest learners, and I think that we should be vigilant about screen time use at any grade level. And we try to be really mindful of that in the things that we purchase and in the things that we advocate in our schools. So under no circumstances do I think a child should have unfettered access to a computer. And we work really hard on our cybersecurity to protect our children and our teachers. So I first listed our screen time recommendation by age. And on the second page of that, the second and third pages is this first piece. I have some information about how much screen time we're spending and what they use it for. And just over the past week, to refresh my memory and make sure I was prepared, I've been in our K-3 schools observing technology use. And I am always impressed by what I see in our classrooms. The use was targeted, it was focused. The kids were on Epic, which is a digital library, choosing books that were age and level appropriate, interest-based. I saw kids working on specific phonics skills that were adapted for the learner, which is a type of differentiation. And I saw kids doing targeted math practice. I saw those children move from a 10 to 15-minute center into another center. And when they were asked to put it away, they put it away and they moved on, which is sometimes a concern. A kid doesn't want to give up that technology. So this hopefully gives you a better picture of the amount of screen time you spend. I see some of you looking at the more colorful version. That is feedback from the spring. I don't think I saved one for myself. From the teachers about how much screen time that they use. At the K level, there's not a single teacher that uses iPads in our classroom more than 30 minutes a day. So already we're being very conservative. And then that below grade 3, there is no one using it more than an hour or two a day. And I would say that's very generous on a special occasion. And they use them in the types of ways that Allie just commended, which is for direct instruction and small groups. I also wanted to share with you, because I know this is of essence, the cost of what we would save. If I could grab one of those extras there. while there is some cost savings, it is really not enough to get an ed tech in every classroom during literacy. So one, and wouldn't that be amazing? In our P1 arrangements, which is our, how do you say, most instructively needy students, there are several ed techs, and they get really intensive training, and they do just such a beautiful job with that. At our P4, where the kids are more independent, maybe more advanced for their grade level, there is one, and often, sometimes in that case, another ed tech. And so we have two stations where a student is working independently. And so to remove an iPad from that classroom in a one-to-one setting removes that ability to differentiate and give instruction to those kids. And so the kids are left with reading books, which they are doing too. It's in combination with the iPads, and doing worksheets or writing without adult supervision, sometimes at 2 or 3 stations, which could be 45 minutes during the literacy period. That's a lot of time that a teacher needs to prepare and plan to differentiate appropriately for a student. So that's why I think that iPads are a good help there. If you look again, I know I directed us to the cost savings. We spend, I thought I had the totals there, excuse me. Seesaw, Math Back Lab, and then less than $1,000 per student. So we maybe spend about $5,000 to $10,000 in apps at that grade level. And we spend about $110,000 annually. You probably recall from our previous budget discussions, that's about the one person in salary to give that directed one-to-one instruction, which is of course preferable to that piece of technology. I would always rather have a teacher there. But our teachers are being so mindful about what they do with their students. If we were to reduce iPads to a cart model, we would still need to do our renewal cycle. We'd say about half that amount, but then put the teachers at a disadvantage for the one-to-one piece and having to figure out how to share. And as you know, our literacy blocks happen simultaneously, so the sharing piece gets a little bit complex. And any of the teachers that I discussed it with, and our administrative team is concerned about assessments, because that's another piece of data that the school board is really interested in, and it's really hard to administer those assessments 3 times a year to every student without a device assigned to them. I also wanted to just clarify one thing that you said. We were one of the leading districts in the state to start our one-to-one program, and that started in 2018 to 2019 is when we piloted it. So we felt it was important for a long time to give teachers I will sort of die on a hill, as you know, that piece of differentiation that they can give to students while they're managing it. We also have some tools. I think just because it was on the agenda and I think it's valuable, I also put together our cybersecurity measures. I thought that the board, we've never had a chance to talk about that. So I'll share those with you, but I wanted to point out that our teachers, both for kids and teachers using Chromebooks and for our iPad users, we have teacher management tools where teachers can lock students into specific sites and apps and monitor their use. It's not practical for a teacher to be watching screens while they're actively teaching. So we work with them to help learn use the tools to lock the students into a site or app so there are fewer distractive pieces while they're doing their instruction. So kids are doing what's most meaningful. Our kids smart and savvy 100%. It's like it's a constant growth battle for us, but we're raising future engineers and computer scientists. And that's when I talk to computer scientists now, they tinkered when they were kids, and that's what made them amazing. So it's hard to begrudge that experimentation. So I'll pass these cybersecurity measures on.
Any other board members have any questions or comments?
Just share a recent article. Can I have that mic, please?
Oh, yes. We've been passing it down. Musical mic.
Yeah. There's a recent article in the Free Press. It was written by Jared Cooney Hovath, who wrote the book, The Digital Delusion, How Classroom Technology Harms Our Kids' Learning and How to Help Them Thrive Again. So I'm not bashing technology, but the title of the article is We Gave Students Laptops and Took Away Their Brains. The motto is decades of data show a clear pattern. The more schools digitize, the worse students perform.
Excuse me, could you shut off your microphone so that there's no feedback? Thank you.
Thank you, Audra. So yeah, the decades of data show a clear pattern. The more schools digitize, the worse students perform. Jared Cooney Horvath is a neuropsychologist, and he wrote this article not as an attack on education, but a plea for education to get back to what matters. And so he, at the end, he says, you know, what to do. And because we have so many community members here, which I think is fantastic. This is what he said. The very first thing that everyone do is buy a printer. Reading, writing, note-taking, homework, practice problems, these all work better on paper. Right? So it's that acknowledgement. If we as a practice in our school system have students reading on a screen, we are part of the problem. They need to be holding books. They need to be holding paper. They need to be holding a pencil or highlighter or a pen. That's how we get rigor back in our classrooms. It's a great article. I hope everyone here that's heard it, again, it's we gave them laptops and took away their brain. It's a fantastic article.
We want to forward the URL to Sue, and we'll make sure that all the board has it.
I can, the free press is a subscribe, unfortunately. So, I mean, you might, but I think if you just go in the first time, you can, like, they always have a sample article. This would be a good sample article to do. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? You had some concerns about cybersecurity based on an incident with your child.
I don't want to get too much into that because I need to go through the proper channels with that person and make sure everything is accurate before I share that. But I do want to talk about a common theme that we hear about. We've heard about it the past few years at the summit in Augusta is student engagement, and the ability to be able to engage a child is getting harder and harder because of this like constant stimulation that they have in the real world. So part of the research revolves around just the amount of exposure time to screens actually exponentially delays certain cognitive skills for kids, especially in the younger grades. But aside from that, it makes it harder to engage in the things that kids now find boring, like opening a real book or writing a paper. They're like, oh, this isn't fast enough. I can't type this at 75,000 words a minute, you know? So there's a few different avenues I wanted to try to take with this. I want to have community discussion. Obviously, this is like a multiple meeting situation. It's nothing I'm asking for at any point to be, immediately implemented. But even just giving a little more parent choice to like, okay, my kid finishes an assignment. Are they given an iPad to read a book on, or does that child need to go to the book section instead? And maybe giving parents a choice on that. So much broader discussion. There's so many different facets and so much more we need to learn from the teachers. But I just wanted to get it on our radar as a way to try to improve sports and just, improve actual education. And for the parents here, if you could help us by keeping your kids to the allotted screen time at home, that would be very helpful too.
Do you have a roadmap in mind for how you see us proceeding to review this and come up with a policy that is suitable for K through 3?
Yes. So I want to get more into, I want to look at each of the programs, how they're used, because obviously some of them we don't have the personnel to replace right now. We don't have enough people for individual instruction and for the amount of varied instruction that they're looking for. So I want to know which are the essential programs that are allowing teachers to provide varied instruction. I'd like to know the recreational programs they're using, like games. And then I would like to discuss a parent opt-out piece for parents who do not want their kids to be given an iPad or a screen during the day. I know especially for kids who have ADHD and autism in particular, it's something that a lot of parents have like a zero use policy for because of the effects on them. So I would like to see those pieces at the next meeting. That would be very helpful.
Do we currently have any kind of an opt-out option for parents?
Aside from communication with the teacher or our FERPA or HIPAA options that are available through our district website? No. It's not to say we wouldn't work with the parent, but I think I passed that around too.
Yeah. I mean, if there were
one child opts out of a digital resource in the classroom, it's the same amount of work for a teacher as if all of the students opt out. So we're doubling the work of a teacher if we're taking away that resource for that particular time. I'm not saying we're doubling their workload per se. I think those are all really good questions and I'd be happy to share and show you how the apps that we're using works. I did want to clarify, because I think I can do that right now, that we manage all the apps from a central management platform and we don't have any games for entertainment on.
Not for entertainment, even math games.
Yeah.
All those, yeah, I want to know about those too.
Sure.
So maybe Bridget, you and I can meet with some, like a sampling of K-3 teachers and talk about this a little bit. And then also Ally, get more feedback from you about what you're looking for so that we can bring to you some meat to be really talking about this together, if that's okay. I'm not sure we can all do this for the next meeting, but we'll try to get this rolling quickly.
And to prevent my water hose of information, the more specific, you can let me know in advance what you want. I'm happy to prepare that so we have more targeted conversations instead of just. Thank you. Yep.
So could you just spend a moment talking about, like how we do use security measures on the laptops right now?
I'm gonna let my friend Marshall talk about it. If you mind, just how we talk a little bit through our layers of security. He had helped compile I just think he's delightful and everyone should get to hear a little bit from him.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marcel Alex. I'm the network manager for the school district. To answer your question in regards to the security levels we have on the laptops, there's many, many layers. We, as a technology department, treat security as an onion. There's multiple layers just to get to the center rather than artificially filled layer and center already. So we have multiple policies in place. There's web filters, there's safe search policies as well. We have endpoint protection, we have firewalls, we have application filters. There's many, many different technologies that we use all at once to try and ensure the safest and most secure access for our students. So.
Thank you. There's a more detailed description of all of those layers in your description. It's a lot to process. It's a lot I've been learning about in the last 3 years. So we're lucky to have a resource like Marcel, and we continue to learn together and are always advancing our cybersecurity measures. We'll talk about that again in March.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much for coming tonight and starting this conversation. I think we kind of covered 4 and 5 within this last discussion. So our next item on the agenda is an employment update.
So we have a new hire to bring forward, and we have a resignation as well. So the new hire is for Eleanor Chow, who is being nominated this evening for the Assistant Director of Adult Education. She is coming from RSU 57. She's been there for about 5 years. She's done work with as an ELL instructor. She's also been a student support advisor. And so she's being recommended, as I said, to fill the position of our Assistant Adult Ed Director.
Motion to approve. Second. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? And we have a second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor of accepting this new hire?
Yes.
Although, thank you, Lori. Thank you, Lori. Motion has been made and passed.
And we have one resignation. That's Alex McCormick Kuman, and he is moving on from our Assistant Athletic Director position. He has accepted the Athletic Director position at RSU 57.
Motion to approve. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Ally? We have a motion to approve. It's been seconded. All those in favor of accepting this retirement? All those.
Resignation, yeah. It's not ready to retire yet.
Sorry. All those in favor of accepting the resignation?
Yes.
And,
Thank you.
and the motion is passed.
That's all we have for employment updates at this time.
Okay, moving on to superintendent update.
Okay, so just a few quick things. We have shuffled our January meetings because we had the holiday at the beginning of the of the month. So our next meeting is January 22nd, just so everybody's aware of that. And we also adjusted the February meeting because we had the February break. So we wanted to make sure that we had 2 February meetings. So the February 19th meeting has been shifted to February 26th. The other thing, just as a quick update, is that we sent out a couple of dates for the policy committee, but I'll have Jen some additional dates out. So be looking for those if you're still on that committee. Thank you.
And that's the superintendent update. Now we have an opportunity to introduce other items to be discussed. Josh.
I have that mic. First of all, I just want to reiterate, thank you to everyone who came tonight, regardless of your feelings or positions. Being a school board member, being involved in community school, I think it's a really powerful statement. I know it's hard to take time out of your lives to come to a Thursday night. For those of you who traveled outside of our community, thank you for coming. Appreciate that. I want to say a few things, just that I would love nothing more than to spend the board's time on focusing on improving our academic performance and our work culture here in this district. However, like revelations, like those that happened on December 18th, keep us from those discussions and those actions. Some of the discussions around following state laws, of course we should follow state laws. If you recall, I mean, some of you saw the video, the questions weren't about the state law. It was about how it was being implemented. And the implementation of the Maine Human Rights Act is up to the school district to decide. And that's what the questions were about. The Maine Human Rights Law has a natural conflict in it. In some instances in a school district, it's very hard to protect sex and gender identity because they are naturally in conflict with one another. Schools are unique in this way. It might be easier for restaurants or the businesses to do unisex bathrooms, but it's not easy in a school district. I mean, the matter of changing all the bathrooms to unisex would be an amazing expense, right? And not to say I would have concerns about having bathrooms that can be locked inside of school. I think most parents would have concerns about that. So regardless of, how I get characterized and misrepresented, I can take that. I have 4 daughters. Trust me, I've taken a lot of vitriol from my daughters at different times, right? But for the amount of rhetoric and anxiety that these realizations have created throughout a community, state, nation, I'm truly sorry. And it should be clear that more understanding and discussion is necessary. I have many times condemned bullying, harassment, and other personal attacks, and I will continue to do that and separate myself from such rhetoric. However, the energy on both sides of this issue causes us to look deeply within ourselves and beyond ourselves for guidance and direction. So in that, looking for the future rather than in the past, right? Our board often states that we are interested in nonpartisan, evidence-based decisions. I want to believe that's true. And if that's true, then we should take time to consider the recommendations of those who have spent more time gathering hundreds of personal stories, reading studies and books, and analyzing research to ensure that that research is well done, well conducted, the sample sizes are the right size, the analyzation of the data is good, everything is good. If we're actually interested in what they have to say, we would not simply adopt the Maine Human Rights Act as policy and move on as if it's something we check off a list. We would ask questions about what it means for our students in this district. And that's what I asked. I believe every student deserves to be affirmed in their dignity and value because they are someone's son or daughter. I want that for my kids. I want that for everyone's kids. But it's not the same as confirming kids' beliefs. Affirming and confirming are two very different things. My daughters have all kinds of crazy ideas. I don't confirm them, but I do affirm them that they are beautiful, they are creative, they are awesome. If we're really interested in taking a step forward, maybe we would eventually get to the point where we can discuss as a board some of the best evidence-based, non-partisan recommendations that several organizations, both in the US and internationally, have recommended that schools put in place. Some like this. They recommend that schools actually develop sex-based policies, thinking about all the possible issues that we have in school systems, to include field trips, sports, bathrooms, and a whole lot more. That we would seek to purposely remove political and ideological positions through our policies and our practices and implementations. Just a few of those recommendations, and I'm just going to be quick and then I will stop. It is the recommendations of nonpartisan evidence-based practices to have toilets and changing facilities be single sex for any child over the age of 8. It is best practice recommendations that students should only be referred to by the school using names that are approved and given by their parents. Students should never be permitted to use facilities, whether that's toilets, locker rooms, and other areas designated for the opposite sex. Parents are to be notified immediately of any concerns regarding the child's mental health, especially self-harm or transgender ideation, regardless of what you think those parents might do or say. They're kidding. And school staff must never socially affirm an incongruent identity claim by a student. They are growing, they are developed. Haven't we taken developmental psychology? We know that beliefs are not confirmed until their mid-20s. What are we doing in schools?
Mr. Tabor, I think this is more on
Those are,
public input.
it was my other, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Those are nonpartisan, evidence-based practices. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Thank you.
So I have a quick question for you, Josh. Did you make the clip or publicize the clip that's gone viral?
No, I didn't either.
Do we have any other from the board?
I do. Can I speak real quickly? Yeah. I just want to say, speaking of amazing children, I'm in a dark car, so I can't read all of my notes, but Noble Athletics have been doing amazing. And I just want to make a huge, amazing shout out. Congratulations to, I'm hoping I say her last name right, Hannah Perro, on her 100th career win in wrestling. I think those are some really exciting things that we can be celebrating about our district right now.
Thank you, Lauren.
Marissa?
I do not have a speech. I apologize. I do have a motion, because this is a board meeting, and so we make motions. So I motion for the board to censor board member Josh Tabor for not following the established protocol for policy changes and as a result endangering the school, the staff, the students, and his fellow board members.
I would second that.
You have a motion and it has been seconded. Do we have any discussion?
Can it be repeated? So I.
I'd like to know where the evidence is.
So I would like to motion for the board to censure board member Josh Tabor for not following the established protocol for policy changes. And as a result, I'm endangering the school, the staff, the students, and his fellow board members.
Where's the evidence?
I have the timeline to pass out of all the policy committees. I did not mark the ones that he missed, but I can get that for you or someone else.
Evidence of the
Committee to do that.
Thank you.
The way the policy committee, the policy was coming up with the policy committee. And so you talk about the policy and why we have the policy, what needed to be changed from the policy. And if you had any thoughts or ideas on how to change the policy. We did, on September 18th, at the first policy committee, we mentioned that this policy would be coming up after talking to the lawyers by October 16th. The agenda for October 16th meeting, we had the first reading of the policies. 10/22, we had a remote policy committee scheduled from 9 to 6. There was no discussion on this policy, as in no one wanted to change anything of this policy. The policy committee agreed to accept the changes that it was, which is adding protected classes to this policy. We had a policy committee meeting on 10/28 from 5 to 6 remote. Again, this was an opportunity to discuss within the policy committee to make any changes. There's no changes discussed. 11/20, a policy meeting in person from 6 to 6:45. Again, this was the opportunity in the policy committee to discuss the policies and if you wanted to make any changes. 12/1, an email was sent at 12:45, stating there might be a snow day, but we'll continue the policy meeting on 12/2. 12/2, a policy meeting was remote. Unfortunately, Josh was not able to attend that because he thought that it was canceled, but it was not. 12/4, we had a meeting, the second reading of these policies. One of the board members felt that they did not receive the first reading, so we tabled this meeting. Mr. Tabor asked where questions or concerns about this specific policy should be, and we said, please email the policy committee. No email was sent. Asking questions, wanting to change the policy, asking why do we have this policy? I was just thinking, no, nothing was sent. This policy was ready to go. 12/18, the policy was on item number 7 with the links sent out to all board members, the agenda. Questions were asked about the purpose of the policy.
I know. I'm trying, it's not mine.
That's okay.
Sorry, guys, I hate that.
The purpose of the policy and the policy itself. The policy itself was updated in 2021. But no questions was asked during the, sorry. That sound got me. 2021, and no questions were asked about the changes that we are making at the policy, just for the policy itself, and you had ample time to ask those questions. This caused confusion among all the town across multiple platforms, resulting in threats and emails and just security concerns. And that is my evidence.
But you're saying that
Now you
ACA,
can turn the mic, turn you off,
sorry.
so it doesn't get feedback.
So what you're saying is ACAA, ACAB, and the other ones were discussed at each one of these meetings?
It's a package deal.
At each one of these meetings?
Yes. Yes.
That's not,
The meetings I attended, if I wanted to be rude.
all the meetings that you just need, all the dates, no, AC and ACA were not addressing all those things. And regardless, as a board member, I am allowed to vote up policy and down policy, correct?
Yes.
And my questions, were they about the actual policy, like the legality of the policy, or are they about the implementation of the policy? Fair question.
Question. Yeah. So what happens as far as I say, or as the board, we say, hey, wait a minute, this policy is not working. Our bullying policy is not working. Our bullying policy, JICK, is not working for us. First day of policy committee, I said, hey, let's add this policy. It's not working for us. It's on our list to do for, we have a list, we have a list of policies and this is a policy. That's what you do. If you don't think this policy wasn't working, you come to the committee, say, hey, I think this policy is not working. And you did not do that. I don't want to argue.
No, I think one thing to help, I don't want to argue, Marissa, I respect you very much as a person. You're doing what you have, it's okay. One of the things that I asked about, I became aware of it was sometime in the middle of December. So I didn't have a question until the middle of December, which that was me, just kind of timing on that one. It is what it is. If you feel you take this action, I understand. That's okay. You're allowed to take that action. And if I do have questions, by all means, we can vote for it.
Thank you.
Do we have any other comments or discussion? So the motion has been made to censure Mr. Tabor. It's been seconded.
I do have a question. Oh, sorry, Nancy.
Right.
Can you give me a description of what that would mean for Josh? I'm more paper. Here we go.
Something up. Okay, so
What it is, it's just basically saying we as a board, we vote, do not approve of his actions.
it doesn't strip any voting.
It doesn't strip, he can't vote on the censure, but it doesn't strip any future voting. It doesn't feature his career and as a board member ever. It doesn't give him any discipline. It doesn't give him anything to that. It's just saying as a board, we do not approve of his actions.
Okay, so it doesn't inhibit his ability to voice his concerns.
Just in this vote. He can't vote on this.
About the censure, not about the policy, just to be clear. It just eliminated his vote for the censure, and it would be kind of like noted on his
Permanent
school board
record.
record. On his, yes, school record. Okay, thank you.
Yes, Nancy.
Policy again, because there was more to just the policy meetings. Well, I mean, the motion again. The motion.
Marissa, could you please?
I would like to motion to the board, to the censure of board member Josh Tabor for not following the established protocol for policy changes, and as a result, endangering the school, the staff, the students, and his fellow board members.
That's the part I'm questioning. How
The
did,
endangering part, like the emails I received as threats,
what didn't come from Josh?
his actions caused that.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I'm 100%.
Exactly. I don't understand how his actions caused the,
Because he made sure he asked those questions on camera.
Oh, my God.
okay.
Really loud.
Excuse me, I have the floor, and I'm keeping it. I have the floor. Thank you. You guys still have the floor? So I want to know how that meeting that was relayed by another Facebook page and then went, I mean, I never saw Josh or any of us, Jerry, none of us ever made a comment. You weren't even in town for most of it. So how did he become involved with all of this? The only board member I saw, sorry, Ally, who was posting anything was my esteemed colleague next to me, Ms. Hurley.
That's right.
So how did, we never put any post out there until January 1st, cause this uproar? I want to know.
I don't have proof of that. You could vote no then.
Yeah, there is no proof of it, because it didn't happen. So half of it I can't argue because it wasn't on the policy committee. The other half, I happen to know that there were no posts. Not on the committee of letters, not on his personal page. There were no posts or online about any of this incident. on January 1st.
It was a very disturbing cartoon that you did post.
What was that?
A cartoon on January 1st.
You all know what everybody says.
On January 1st, the letters posted a cartoon and a comment. From December 18th to January 1st, that meeting went viral. We had nothing to do with either one of them. Sorry, guys.
Viral because.
Please don't.
Against the one person who stands
don't.
up and says something.
Please. It's okay.
Guys,
Please be civil.
I just want to point out and remind you, this board, there was no credible threat to the district on January 4th, according to the police. So you're censuring him for something he didn't do other than whatever happened in policy. I'm sorry.
Because that's what they do. They.
Guys,
Please don't.
Excuse me,
you can't interrupt.
excuse me, please have order.
Have another drink.
Guys,
Guys, please don't.
come on.
I would like, yeah, it's my Diet Coke.
Oh, that Diet Coke.
Please.
And I would like to address that because that also has appeared in viral posts.
That's how you talk to him too.
And I am overdue, Josh, in apologizing to you for my language that evening. I was not feeling well. I was frustrated, but it was not an excuse to use that kind of language.
Apology accepted. Thank you, Kate.
And I also, and anyone who knows me knows that that is not how I typically react. I'm a pretty even-tempered woman. And I have the right to, by the way, I was in my living room that night. No, I was zooming in from my living room to that board meeting.
You need to conduct yourself as well, not just about.
Exactly.
Everybody else.
Exactly. I was recovering from walking pneumonia. I had a glass of Coke at my side, as I often do. And it's been reported all over the web that I was drinking. Yes, I was. Diet Coke. And that's all that I'm going to say about that.
Thank you.
You can believe whatever you want to believe.
Reprimanded.
Melissa.
Thank you. I just want to say that I cannot in good conscience vote to censure a school board member based on nothing, but the only thing that you have proof of is that you disagree with his position. We have no proof on anything else, so I can't support that. As a policy committee member, though, I am curious, am I not, if I miss, which I did miss a couple of policy meetings, if I miss policy meetings, am I not allowed when it comes to the board at the table, I'm not allowed to participate in the discussion? I just want to understand what the policy, what is the procedure because I'm brand new.
You're absolutely allowed to participate in public debate during the policy review, the public policy reading and review. But we do expect that if you are on the policy committee, you're kept aware of and involved in how those policies are evolved. So no, you're not disallowed. And I don't think Josh was disallowed. In fact, you did say you were going to be sending me an email, which I never received.
You want me to explain that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I decided not to send you the emails. The policies were drafted by Drummond and Winston. If you recall, we actually just eliminated the 2001 policies, which was, what was the point of asking questions if we knew we were just going to get 2025 version from Drummond and Winston? And the reason there weren't questions about it is because Drummond and Woodson said themselves, they really don't want to touch ACAA. We can adopt this, but they know that the concerns regarding ACAA, the protected classes, is being litigated between the state of Maine and the federal government. And they said, yeah, we're not touching it. And so I was, why ask the questions? Because regardless, whatever happens out of the litigation, I suspect we'll probably be back at this table redoing this policy over again.
Thank you. I would just like to echo exactly what Josh just said. This issue is already being litigated at the state and federal level where it belongs. Us as a board, not a single, has anyone passed the board on this, the bar? Anyone? Have any members of this board passed the bar?
But I'm trying.
Good for you. I hope you do. So until such a time as any of us have any legal expertise or become a member of the Supreme Court, we have zero jurisdiction to shoot down this policy. Now, yes, the implementation, you are on to kind of something with that. We don't, to say, okay, here's our bullying policy. But if you are using the wrong pronoun, you fall under this different category of punishments. Would not only be confusing to the students, it's nearly impossible to implement. So you can call someone any name except for their wrong gender, then you get a less significant punishment, right? That doesn't make sense, right? That's not able to be implemented in real life. So this policy as it stands says that if you are bullying, harassing someone by repeatedly calling them something they don't want to be called, that gives you the same punishment as any other bullying and harassment. That's it. Multiple schools have gone up against this. What has happened is they are being sued by the Maine Human Rights Commission. We receive 92 to 95% of our funding to keep this school open from the state every year. The funding you're worried about getting pulled is federal. That is less than 10% of our funding. So if we're going by the law of the land, which is that school boards are a wing of the state that cannot work independently, that are not authorized to be able to judge what is federally legal, we are obligated to follow state statute. So you have been duped if you have come here thinking that we can change that. We cannot change that. And if we were to, we open ourselves up to the same costly litigation that 5 other districts in our state are currently under. It is costly. We don't have it in our budget to go through these costly court cases. We just don't.
You're all.
You're out of order, please.
Josh, can I explain just one thing?
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
We're getting legal advice.
Any more about something saying I would step down if I had to change this policy?
Excuse me, could I just, if we continue to have outbursts from the audience, I'm going to ask the officers in the back of the room to escort you out.
I want to address that I did say I would step down if I felt that I couldn't uphold this policy. The reason I said that is to exactly avoid the situation we are in right now. If I cannot in good faith support a policy and my alternative is breaking the law, which we are bound by the state to update this statute, then my only option in good conscience would be to step down from the board. It is not to cause civil unrest in a room where it doesn't belong. That is my explanation about stepping down. And if the federal government goes to court with Maine and the Supreme Court decides that we are violating human rights with our actions in Maine, then yes, I would be forced to step down based on my conscience.
Okay. Marissa, I'm going to turn to you and ask if you want to continue to have your motion on the table.
Yes.
You continue want to have your second. So we have a motion on the floor. Marissa, one more time, if you could please read that. Sorry.
I'd like to motion to the board to censure board member Josh Tabor for not following the established protocol for policy changes and as a result endangering the school, staff, students, and his fellow board members.
Okay, so all of those in favor of passing a censure vote?
Paige, I'd like a roll call vote on this.
Okay. So we will do a roll call vote for censoring Mr. Tabor. Ally?
Allison Hurley, nay.
Lauren?
Lauren Janasek, no.
Nancy Stoll, no.
Jerry Basco, no.
Wheeler, yes.
Kate Whalen, yes.
Marissa, yes. Melissa Sear, no.
Okay, and the motion has not passed. Okay, so do we have any other new business? Nancy?
I have sent the, oh, sorry. I sent some questions to you, Kate, that you said you were going to postpone until next week. There is one question that I would like to bring forward tonight.
Okay.
And that would be, we had questions regarding the services regarding our consultant, our reading consultant. And due to her preemptive decision to quit, those questions were never asked. New questions have been created. I was wondering, I would like to know from the superintendent, Audra, for what reason and for exactly how many days between December 4th and December 19th is Ms. Thurston receiving payment for her services? And is she receiving that payment at $1,500 a day?
December 4th and January 19th.
I'm sorry, thank you. Yes, when she quit, December 4th, when she put it in her notice, I believe she said she would be here till December 19th. January 19th. Oh, my word. Yeah. We have a part to talk about that at the next board meeting as part of a bigger conversation. So you can't tell us how many days she's going to be paid for? At this moment, I would need to look at the invoices and speak with everybody that we've been working with on that. So I can certainly do so at the next meeting.
Thank you. Do you have any other?
I just wanted to comment on that, like, this issue about compensation, was asked at the December 4th meeting by, I don't remember which board member, but it was a board member here who asked about the compensation, through January 19th. It was asked again by a board member on the December 18th meeting. And so to be here today and not have an answer at all is certainly disappointing. And then to say that we're going to talk about it after her time is up, where the board can't do anything, that's frustrating. It should be frustrating for everybody.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? We have a motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry. We have another public input session. So we are going to keep this, by the way, we're going to keep this to 21 minutes and
The motion to go longer.
Turn on the microphone. There you go. See that?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak here. As I said, I have some family that live near here and have 4 kids that go in the school system. I personally drove up an hour and a half for Bowdoin this evening.
excuse me, could you give us your name and where you
Sure.
are?
Aaron C. John, and I'm from Bowdoin, Maine.
Okay, thank you.
So I drove up, about an hour and a half, hour, 20 minutes. This is technically my Friday night. I had better things I could be doing, more enjoyable things, relaxing, things that I could have enjoyed doing tonight, but I decided to come up here and speak out a little bit, just momentarily. I like the comments about facts and established scientific data that seems to be lacking in our schools lately, which is kind of concerning. As an underprivileged child who grew up in a very poor trailer park with an alcoholic mother, actually both branches of my family tree were full of alcoholism. One of the ways I escaped is going to the local library, such as Wiscasset Library. I spent days and days reading through magazine books, this and that as a child. This has definitely benefited me as an adult. I've learned many things. When I was in my 20s, like the internet, which opened my ability to learn many more facts and statistics I wasn't aware of, such as how many Americans are on big pharma mind drugs, how many children are on big pharma mind drugs. When I first started reading about this, it was 25% of American children were on big pharma mind drugs, such as antidepressants, anti-anxiety, et cetera. Now trans drugs, morphed into that. Now it's up to 40% of American children are on big pharma mind drugs. 70% of American adults are on big pharma mind drugs. No other country in the world has anywhere near that thing. Some people claim that it's, TV advertising. Only the United States and New Zealand allow big pharma to advertise on TV. I'm not gonna get into all that. I'm just gonna try to stick to the facts and statistics. We've also mentioned that Maine students are almost dead last in math and science now. Almost a complete reversal from where they were like 20 years ago when I was a kid. Well, when I was a kid, but I was a little bit younger back then. That's ridiculous to me. That's insane to me that we're almost dead last, that we've completely lost our lead in that. And I see it everywhere I go. I see it in the young people, the 19, 20-year-olds walking around aimlessly, no work ethic, no one to do, mentally ill. It's sad. It's depressing. Again, the drugging is what gets to me. My mother was put on Prozac when I was a kid. She mixed it with alcohol, which was the real issue. She ended up in the woods with the SWAT team after her. She lost her job as a CNA. She got a felony. She never worked again. She's been on welfare the rest of her life, sitting at home drinking vodka all day. Prozac was taken off the market in England first because it was proven to cause homicidal, suicidal behavior, just like antidepressants do to children. We don't know what happened at some of these Columbine, Sandy Hooks, but there's a good chance these kids were on drugs that are proven that have FDA black box warnings because they cause homicidal and suicidal behavior. Again, I think that schools should get back to facts and statistics. I'm not going to get here and beat up people who identify as transgender. I fought those battles before with people. That's not my place.
Could you please conclude? We've come up to your 3 minutes.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'd just like to see is more emphasis on that. Maybe Google Chloe Cole. A lot of these detransitioners, thousands worldwide that regret what they've done. Maybe schools should be a little more equal on the education stuff and not just one-sided, which appears to be in a lot of schools what's going on. So again, I appreciate your time. And I look forward to any changes that can come in. Again, a lot of schools aren't going, well, 5 schools aren't going with everything.
Okay.
So you guys don't have to go along with this.
We do have some
So,
residents who.
It's not about money all the time. It's about saving children.
Can I ask if there are any more district residents who would like to make a statement? Because I would like to give you the opportunity first.
Residents first.
Your resident.
I am Arthur Lane. I am alumni of 2020, and I graduated from Mary Hart Academy. I did not graduate from this school. However, I am grateful that I graduated from that school because towards that time is when this policies were starting to go out of it. And now I'm starting to see before me that the people that are trying to make the good improvement are being silenced. Silenced. When we want to go back to the pen and paper is what we had at Mary Hart Academy because we were low budget. And also I heard from the grapevine that that school was going to be shut down, but it was safe. We are one of the lowest testing schools in the state. That is not acceptable. Even during COVID, my teachers at Mary Hart Academy pushed to figure, because I had an IEP. Every single person at that school had an IEP. They focused solely on that person. They did not focus on the political debate of what is going on in today's world. We constantly need to focus on the children. I want to be able to build a family and bring them to this school that I graduated from. But I can speak for a lot of people. With the way that things being run right now and people getting silenced when they want to make good improvements. I have people that I know very close to me that aren't even wanting to bring their kid to their school in this district because of everything that is going on. We need to do better on the testing side. That is the biggest problem we have. I am grateful to announce that I am a business owner. I've had my own house since 19 because they taught me right at Mary Hart Academy with the right instruction. We need to do better as a school district. That's all we need to do. Thank you guys for your time.
Hello, my name is Kevin Jessel. I'm a resident of Berwick, Maine. I've been here to speak many times over the years. I was in here a few times months ago to call out some really piss poor behavior from members of the school board. Those school board members have continued to engage in awful behavior, personal partisan attacks. And as it was said earlier, I think you should resign. That's it.
I am Christy Perro. I've lived in Berwick my whole life. I have a 26, 27-year-old that went to Noble. So I I've dealt with Noble firsthand for many, many years, and now my youngest is 12. Never thought I'd be standing up here today, so I just brought a little bit down. Very nervous. I'm speaking as a parent, as a taxpayer. I just want to be very clear about what many of us are seeing. We've come to these meetings hoping to hear serious discussion about the curriculum, the academic performance, and, you know, concrete plans to help our students succeed. Yet I see none of that. I see none of these things on the agenda. There are no solutions to academic failures. There is no meaningful focus on education. Instead, all I see meetings are disorganized, chaotic. Board protocols are not followed. I just witnessed her, a new person, believe you're new, try to get somebody that all of us want to hear what he has to say, silenced with no evidence whatsoever.
Is that what
Support
it
his case. So. Board members ask for executive sessions. They're never scheduled. The process simply breaks down. At the same time, the public divide on this board has become impossible to miss. One side is repeatedly targeted for doing their job, for asking questions. You know, the parents deserve to have answers. Meanwhile, other members have taken to the town Facebook groups to slander fellow board members, to intentionally provoke parents, teachers, and staff for reactions. I have personally witnessed posts meant to agitate this community, followed by the same members recruiting their own family, their friends to rally in the support of them for sympathy. That behavior is not leadership, it's not professionalism, and certainly it's not putting students first. As you can see all of this for yourself on the Noble Live YouTube recordings of your sessions. The public record speaks for itself. You each took an oath to serve the parents and students of this district. You have an obligation to put education above politics and personal loyalties. And you have the responsibility to conduct meetings with fairness, organization, and respect. I would remind the board that any member can be removed by a 25% vote of the public. That is law in Maine, and parents are now paying attention. We are asking you sincerely to do better, to remember your oath, to work together, to provide overdue answers, and to focus to return the focus of this district to what truly matters, the education and well-being of our children.
Hi. Thank you.
How you doing? My name's Nick, from Augusta. I'm also a candidate for the Augusta School Board this year.
Nick, can we please have your last name as well?
Blanchard.
I'm sorry.
Nick Blanchard.
Thank you.
If you would allow, I'd like to, make a toast with you tonight for, becoming the wokest school board in the state of Maine. And that's not because of his questions. You guys want to take a toast?
Okay. All right.
It wasn't because of his questions, it's because of the woke ideology that you guys are pushing down the throats of these children.
Officers.
There you go, man. You want to take a chair?
Officers.
You want to take a chair? Is this allowed to come up to the podium like this? Is this allowed?
Officers, we would like to have two members escorted out of the room.
Escorted for what?
Disruptive behavior.
If it makes it's juice. It is juice. If he can, I was actually, he was actually, I didn't even move.
Yes, please.
Joe.
Our lining, what's that class? Stick to residents only. I think it's probably good.
I think from here on out, we're going to stick to residents only, please.
Good evening. It's Mark Rulag.
Mark, do you want to wait a second just so people have your attention?
you. My name is Mark Rivard, North Berwick resident. First of all, Josh Tabor, I think the vote was correct this evening. We should be able to voice our rights, our opinions, and stand up for what he believes in. I think by taking away his voice would have been the wrong thing to do. And I think the most important thing here, I heard here tonight, is this young gentleman right here. Okay? Senior in his school, from what I understand. And he had the guts to stand up in front of this board and tell you the leadership is failing. Okay? There's a lot of parents behind me feel the same. And this woman over here, her child was beaten him to death. I mean, for him to have to learn how to eat a sandwich again, that's pretty severe. But for you to do nothing about it and to protect the minority and not take action for this young man that was beaten up, that's terrible. Our test scores are in the toilet. I want to speak about gender bathrooms. Test scores, you ought to put them in the toilet. It's terrible. You're worse than the state. You fail. You fail parents. You fail the kids. And you sit up there and your policy. They attacked Josh and said nothing. Calvin, I heard you say, you talked, it was very clear. But yet when they started, another person came up, started mentioning the leadership, he shut him down. That's not fair. You know, all the parents in here, they have children. And this woke ideology that you're spreading is actually part of the genocide. You start changing kids' sexes. Look, when I was a young kid, I thought I could fly. I put a towel around my neck, jumped off a second-story building. Guess what? I hit the ground. Not running, but I hit the ground. So these minds are very young. And for them to make a decision like that, a life-altering decision, they should be of age, at least 18 years old. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Hello, school board, committee members. I'm a resident of Berwick, and I'm very nervous, but I was very compelled to come here tonight.
Could we have your name?
My name is Greg Roulette.
Thank you.
To give you my background, as you may know, I did teach third grade at Hanson Elementary in 2022 to 23 for 1 year, and completed the full year. Also, I came to this district with a lot of hope, a lot of aspiration, a lot of, to make a difference. However, that was snuffed out. At the end of the year, I was asked to resign. My resignation was never discussed or reasons given. When I went to see my personnel file, there was nothing in it. So here we are 2 years later. We need to remember that the low test scores did not just happen overnight. If administrators had been paying close attention over time, then you surely would have seen this as an ongoing problem trending for the schools. When I look at this through a closer lens, this is unacceptable and lacks leadership all the way around. A strong school board, effective admin are put into these positions to watch and govern and strategize and offer solutions that work and plan so these things do not happen. And this is where we are. Where is the focus? What are the solutions? Where is the leadership? Again, what is being done to mitigate this? Teachers know how to teach reading. We all went to college. We paid a lot of money to know how to teach and what content is vital. And not being told by a hired outside consultant with some pseudoscience how to teach the students reading skills we learned all over the 4 years. That's why we were groomed to be professionals in and out of the classrooms. I attended one of the most prestigious colleges in Maine, namely the University of New England, to be exact, where I excelled and graduated magna cum laude with high honors. Having this reading consultant in our classrooms undermined my education as well as my coworker and my colleagues. As a capable, sufficient teacher and educator, people want answers as I do, and the taxpayers of the community And most importantly, the kids deserve answers to all of this. It will not get better unless authority in these roles is examined and questioned. It's okay to seek truth and bring up these valid points in all areas. So instead, I ask you, will change happen? I don't know. Giving these administrators liberty to keep things running the way they are is beyond unacceptable, and you as a school board should be concerned and outraged as well. If you can calmly sit here and look at me and think I am overreacting, then you all are underreacting. If you calmly sit here and look at me and are dismissive without question, all I have stated and how it impacts our students involved. You have all the opportunity in the world to do the right thing. Will you ask the hard questions? Will you demand answers or even consider it? That is yet to be determined. These are not czars, kings, dictators. These are people with high levels of power and authority.
Excuse me, you're at time, if you could blow
Okay,
it up, please.
And this kind of injustice happened to me as the first teacher in this district a few years back. Just pause for a minute and think what is happening with these students, your sons, your daughters, friends and families of your kids. When they graduate, if they make it to graduation, we must ask the question, has the people in power making these decisions done everything humanly possible to deliver the best education, informed, shape good examples and ideals that will carry them into the future?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Gage. I go here. I live in North Berkman. All I want to say is that I believe that what we are being taught in the schools is a complete joke. I would rather be learning about how to file my taxes, how to apply for a loan, stuff like that, all 4 years, than learning about books about witches from the 1600s, stuff like that. And I believe that we should be focusing more on the 96% of biological girls that are in this school than the 4% that aren't, and care more about them than the 4%. Thank you. That's all I can say.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Clark, obviously not the basketball player, or I wouldn't be here. I've gone to Noble, I have two wonderful girls that are currently in 10th grade, and I know a lot of people have come up here and talking about our low test scores. Something that Noble actually has a really high statistic in is the rate of suicide. So I just wanted to mention that, and I wanted everybody to take that.
My name is Vanessa Sims. I live in Berg, I'm a Berg resident. I've had 4 children go through this school district, and I'm not going to get into any political views. I'm here today as just a concerned resident that I didn't even plan a speech because I wasn't planning on coming up here, but I do think it's important. I just wanted to share something that one of my children said to me, one of my sons. He said it was very hard to get kids to do homework like it is for any parent. It's the thing that I think every parent has struggled with, trying to get routines to get our kids to do our homework. But one of my children, well, they were all very smart. This one in particular, he said to me, "Mom, I don't need to do homework." I go, "Yes, you do. You need to go to college, And he said, no, I don't have to because I'll still pass my classes. I just have to score high in my tests." So what he did was he came to school and he took his tests and he got great scores. He's very intelligent, but he just took the test and he never did any homework. He's a very strong-willed child. But anyways, he passed, and he passed so well, just based off of how the grading system is done here. He passed so well, and he got into the nuclear engineering program in the Navy. He now runs a nuclear power plant. So he is very intelligent. But my point of this is, it's the fact that a child can do that, and our grading system is set up to where children can just say, "Oh, I don't have to do all this work. All I have to do is just go in and take a test." I just think we're not giving kids. He wasn't able to be his full potential because he was able and allowed to do that. Not just I'm his parent, yes, but also that he was able to do that in the school is just kind of shocking. And, you know, just being a taxpayer here, being a citizen, in this town and having children going through the school district, I just think that it's something that we need to obviously, you know, the school is I think we really need to look at little things like that. Like, why is our grading system set up that way? Why can kids just not do their homework and pass and then graduate high school through this district? So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm a resident of South Berwick. Do you mind if I go?
Can I go first?
You're more than welcome to.
Jennifer Dillon Milton. I was looking through the main DOE learning results, and there's been updates encouraging districts to address poor academics for years. Since districts have local control, it's up to them to implement effective programs and evaluate if students are doing well. We hired a reading consultant for 7 years, and the scores dropped during that time. What does admin have to say about that, and what are we doing about it? We've been waiting for answers. A school district in Indiana hired a consultant to improve teacher effectiveness and test scores. After 2 years, they published a report. That's what we need here. As students themselves have said, what I heard, the materials are low quality. And I have also found that low quality, biased, not age appropriate materials, and it's not serving our kids' academics. Some of the lessons are not the standards that I expect from my children's education. Can there be more oversight and an actual curriculum committee, because the routine reviews and the rare curriculum challenges are really not enough. As far as minors, I feel like we need to have some common sense policy and what that means. We are talking about children and minors. And I'm not a lawyer, but the Maine Human Rights Act, what I've been reading, is that it is conflicting because you have to protect gender identity and sex. So how is this new policy going to protect both? We need to acknowledge biology and come to a middle ground. Please come to an agreement. Work on a plan to improve reading, science, and math. Science, which is at 29% grade level. And we need to critically evaluate how this district is being run and make changes for our children's education, please. Thank you.
We are at 21 minutes right now. How many people would still like to speak?
Make a motion to extend the time for another 30 minutes.
For residents.
For residents.
Residents.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to extend the time by 30 minutes for residents.
Second.
Is there a second? There's a second.
I second.
Yeah.
To vote, but then I'm gonna make a motion to do it for anyone who wants to talk. I said, well, we have to vote on Josh's motion, but after that, I'm gonna make a motion for anyone that wants to talk.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to extend our public input time for 30 minutes. Do we have a second?
I seconded.
Oh, you did? Okay. You have a motion. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Okay, so we'd like to keep this to MSAD 60 district residents and extend it for 30 minutes. All those in favor, please say yes. All those opposed? And the motion has passed.
All right, and I would just like to make a second motion to open that 30 minutes up to any resident who the chair would grant permission to speak to as per typical school board etiquette.
Clarification, any resident?
I'm sorry, any non-resident of the town that the school board grants permission for, same as any other meeting.
There's been a motion on the floor to extend and include non-residents. Do we have a second? It doesn't look like we have a second, so we'll just proceed with input from our residents. Sir?
Hi, good evening. My name is Chris. I live in North Berwick on Church Avenue. We're gonna be real quick. I came here pretty angry, originally, kind of based off of all the hearsay and everything else that's going on. It did affect my son. He goes to school here. He's a freshman. I am here because he asked me to step up and say something on his behalf. Some of the things that have been going on in the school, obviously, like many of your children probably the same. They're frustrated. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to say words. Recently, I've been telling people, words are important. My son is a very average young man. I hope he aspires to be something, great. I just want to be here to support him. So I hope that not only the board, but we as family and friends are doing the right thing by our children. I can tell you, and the only thing I really kind of only want to really say is, my line of work, I've seen way more tragedy than some people in this room. Just remember one thing. We're all human. We all bleed. We all have a brain, and we can all think for ourselves. We don't need to be told by somebody else how to think. I don't want to be told how to think. And I wouldn't want to tell you, sir, how you think or your opinions, or anybody here on the board. Just remember that, right? We need to be humble. We need to live our lives. We all have children. We live our lives for them. And I'm not going to not stop living my life for my children. And I absolutely want them to get the best education, all of their children, including mine. And this is very frustrating. My first ever school meeting to come to, board meeting to come to. Like I said, I came here frustrated about what was said. Here I am speaking in front of a large crowd. That's all I got to really share. Other than, I don't want to tell you how to love everybody, but love each other, right? We're all here for a short period of time. We're barking and arguing about a lot of stuff. Live your lives, whatever life you want to live. I don't care. I do not care. I grew up in a diverse town, not in this town. Because there is not a lot of diversity, right? But I grew up in a very diverse town, and I learned to love everybody really quick. So just remember what we did and what we're doing for our families, our friends, our children, schools, and the public. Just get out there and do great things. I really think you should listen to the children. The students that are here are the one, and at least the one that spoke up. Two, I'm sorry, to spread it over there, buddy. But listen to what they're saying. They're the ones that are being affected. All right. That's all. Thank you for the time. Thank you, guys.
Do you have anyone else who'd like to speak at this time? Okay, thank you, sir.
Good evening. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to stand up here and speak. My name is Brian Kelly. I live here in North Berwick. My wife and I moved to North Berwick in 2016, and we were ecstatic knowing that we were going to be sending our kids here to Noble school system because we came from Somersworth. We always heard how much better Noble was than Somersworth. It didn't take too long, pretty much shortly after the whole COVID-19 scandemic nonsense started, that we started having questions of how the school was being run. But, it is what it is. We'll see how everything plays out over time. And it didn't take too long before we started realizing how poor the education system here became. Last year, my son was in 5th grade at the Noble School. He didn't know how to use capitalization. He didn't know where to put periods, exclamation marks. He didn't know how to structure a paragraph. And my wife and I were dumbfounded. How did he make it all the way to 5th grade? He doesn't even know how to write. He doesn't know how to, he was putting capital letters in the middle of words and starting words with lowercase letters. Unbelievable. It's like the kids these days are graduating from this high school with what we had at an 8th grade education back in the 90s. It's unacceptable. And then my daughter, who was at North Berwick Elementary School, straight A's on her report cards. Man, as parents, you can't be happier. This is great. Until the parent-teacher conference came. Your daughter's falling behind, and we're kind of concerned that if she doesn't pick up her scores by the end of the school year, she might have to stay back. What? She's been straight A's on her report cards, and now we're almost at the end of the school year, and you're telling her she might have to stay back? Nope. So what my wife and I had to do was, outside of school, when they came home, we had to give them extra schoolwork to bring them up to speed. And my son's a smart kid. He's in advanced math. And since we made the decision, which was a couple of years in the making, and it was a hard one to make, especially financially, we pulled our kids from MS-8060. We send them to a private school now. Best decision we ever made. Their education. I think the education has grown exponentially in just the short time from the start of this school year to today, compared to a short amount of time that they spent in MS-8060. And it's just sitting here watching all the people come up here with their concerns and their disappointment and disgust in the school, and nothing's changing. And I understand that we come up here and speak and we're listening, we take it to heart, but are you really, what are you gonna do to fix this? This is not just a one-off thing. Tons of parents from sports, to the rest of the community, they're like, man, I can't wait to pull my kids. I want to homeschool them, anything, get them out of the school.
You're at time. Could you wrap it up, please?
Okay, so I really do hope you take into consideration, because there's a lot of kids that you guys are affecting. And who cares about political stuff, this, that, money? I understand that you guys vote your own salaries. Hey, awesome. How about we take the salary back, we put it back to the kids in the education in the school?
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
I have a written
Little
comment.
up, yeah.
I have a written comment that would like to be read in the public record.
Okay. Is it from someone in the district?
Yes, David and Candace Miller on Long Swamp Road, Berwick, Maine.
Okay, after we-
Whenever, I just want to let you know that's here.
Okay, thank you. Brett.
My name is Brett Little. I live in North Berwick, on Fox Farm Hill Road. I have 4 kids in this district, 1 in high school, 1 in the intermediate school, and 2 at the elementary school. We moved here about 4 years ago. Our kids have been in school districts in Utah, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Maine. So we've kind of lived all over the place. And I have to say, we have absolutely loved the school district here. We love North Berwick Elementary. We love the teachers there. I know not everybody has the same experience that we have had, and that makes me extremely sad. But I want to just express my appreciation to the teachers, and all of those have made such a big difference for our children. Our children love it here. I don't want to speak negatively about other school districts, but it has been an incredible experience for our kids, and they're thriving. And I want to say thank you to all of the teachers. I know there's a few teachers here that my children have had, and I'm so grateful for all of them and all of their effort that they put into our kids. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you? Joe Forte from North Berwick. Just want to echo what my neighbor was saying. My kids have been in the district for a number of years now. I have 2 daughters in our system, and my wife and I are both educators. We both have graduate degrees. We've paid very close attention to our kids' education ever since they've been in the Noble district. We've met with their teachers closely. We read all the emails. We look at all the work that they bring home. We examine it carefully. We question them about what they're learning and what they're talking about at school. And it's been great. I mean, they've really had an excellent education here. It's an excellent school district. They're thriving, and I know their futures are bright because of this district. So thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carl Tabor from North Berwick, 335 Lebanon Road. And I'd like to first thank Josh for asking the difficult questions. Some of them were not answered. I know he asked the superintendent for over a year and a half for test scores. He never got them. How did he get them? He went to the State Board of Education. And within 2 days, he got the test scores and he let everybody know what they were. And that's why we're here tonight, because we're not satisfied with the education that the kids are getting. And the education is driven by the school board members, down to the superintendent, down to the teachers. I mean, the principals, the teachers, goes right down the line. Something's got to change if we want the kids to excel. And I think that's what we're here for, is the kids to excel, be the best that they can be. And the board is the ones who have to drive it. And it's up to you. Thank you.
Tom Hilfer, Lower Main Street again. So I appreciate that there's a dichotomy in what's going on here. We're discussing changing policies in such a way that we would be in violation of state law and subject to lawsuits. Yet every time that we go for budgets or we discuss anything with a dollar value associated with it, the towns have to vote on it, and it comes down to, are we willing to pay for that? That's outrageous. But the fact is, we're not going to improve academic scores without funding our educational system properly. And that does not involve fighting lawsuits that are already being fought by 5 other school districts in the state. This is going to come to a conclusion, but we don't have to pay for that. I think that every student deserves a respectful time in school, and they deserve the right to a good education. I don't think that's a controversial thing. We're a small town, right? There's not much controversy when it comes to we need roads paved. We need an education system. Very simple. That educational system is difficult to navigate when the school board is being asked to do very conflicting things. I am very disappointed in the national attention that this has brought to our town. It is unnecessary. There are external agitators being ejected from our school board meetings. That's inappropriate. Josh, if you decide to run for some other office and use this as a launch pad, I sincerely hope you immediately resign here. I'm serious. It's very clear that
It's very clear with all these. Let's move this up. Next time. Really.
Thumbs up. Hey, Judy. Let's see.
All right, so I didn't come here to stir any type of pot or anything like that. Obviously this, oh, sorry. So I'm Eric, I'm from Lebanon, Maine. I just came here to be the voice of my son, who was thriving in the 7th grade. Tons of friends, sets the example for many students. He's been nominated like student of the month, all that, thriving. Due to recent decisions that have been made, right or wrong, I'm not here to argue about that. Due to like increased police presence, different threats, all the different feelings that you can imagine a 12-year-old boy would have. He's uncomfortable with having different people in the bathroom with him, which is a possibility that could happen. That was brought in light and more attention to, and came into his head that like, what is this, what is that? So at this point, he's decided that he's no longer going to attend school. So you got a kid that has all A's, I think a 1B plus that he reminds me of, that he's consistently working on, trying to get to all A's. And now he's decided he's no longer going to attend school. So very disappointed in the outcome. And I'm only here to voice his concern and his, how sad he is that he's going to miss his friends.
Have you had an opportunity to reach out to the?
Yeah, we reached out to the guidance counselor. My wife sent emails. And I've supported, you know, I've told him, I said, listen, you're going to be safe. You're going to be okay. You need to be there for your friends.
because he has tons of friends. I've always taught him, no matter what people look like, no matter how different people act, you know, treat everybody the same, treat everybody with respect, never bully, never be part of that. If you don't like the way someone's acting, stay away from them. And that's allowed him to thrive here at the school. He's tons of friends. And now because of all this mess, he no longer wants to attend the school. So
Really sorry.
not blaming anybody, but I did want to be his voice. And obviously there's other kids out there that it's going to have the same impact too, right or wrong, different beliefs. Besides that, it can definitely negative impact the future. Luckily, my wife's able to be there while I'm at work, and they'll still thrive. Everybody may not be in the same situation, obviously, and he'll be doing homeschool. So, thank you, guys.
We saw it.
My name is Mike Brennan. I live on Pine Hill Road. I have 3 kids that go to school. Kind of piggyback on what he said. I work in the shipyard, and we have, this discussion's come up a million times already. First of all, I respect everything that you just said tonight, Josh. And to the other guys, I don't, but you're fantastic. But so many people have told me that they're going to start homeschooling their kids now, and they don't want to move here. People are looking to get different houses. People that are looking for houses now are now looking in different towns, all because of all of this transgender stuff. And I can't fathom how, as a school board, you guys think that it's acceptable to pander to, we'll call it 20 kids, just a random estimate at the school, and make hundreds of kids uncomfortable. It doesn't make sense to me. My daughter doesn't feel comfortable going to the bathroom here. You guys say you have a unisex bathroom that my daughter can go use if she's not comfortable. Well, why doesn't that apply to them if they don't feel comfortable going to the bathroom? The laws are as clear as mud. I spent weeks trying to figure out what the friggin' law is. And it's, from what I read in Title IX, it says that you can't discriminate against sex except for bathrooms or locker rooms or places. And sex, as I've been told by every trans person, is different than gender. That says you can separate sex in bathrooms. But regardless, there's lawsuits on both sides of it, and the Supreme Court has ruled on each side of it in different places. The laws, I don't really care. Human propriety says that these gentlemen should not be in the bathroom with my daughter. Boys and girls don't belong in the same bathroom. They just don't. And for anyone who's going to argue that trans boys and trans girls are a girl or a boy, well, then penises and vaginas don't belong in the same bathroom. They just don't. Ones that legitimately feel like they should be in that bathroom, then where are we going to draw the line? If he wants to walk into the bathroom with my daughter and say, you know what, today I'm a girl, what are you going to do about it? You guys can't do anything about it because the rule is so friggin' muddy.
That's what's been going on.
So I wouldn't be surprised. Is it going to take a sexual assault for it to happen?
Why are men sexually assaulting women?
It could go either way.
Woman, would you hurt a woman?
No, I don't think any one of them. I respect the hell out of this kid for what he said
I
tonight.
don't think he would ever hurt.
I don't think he would either.
Have there been any incidents?
Never.
Allow me to speak.
Like this stuff doesn't happen.
Okay, thank you very much. We do need to let the speaker at the podium have their time.
Bye.
I reside at 25.
Could you repeat your name, please?
Richard Decato.
Thank you.
I reside at 25 Highland Drive, North Berwick. This is my daughter. This is my son. First, I'm going to applaud you with the pre-K program. It's great, and I wish that you could include more kids and give them that opportunity. My son loves it. Second, I'm going to hit off what he just went on, and, boys don't belong in girls' private areas. And if they identify as a woman and they are biologically a male, they still should not be in the girls' locker room. They should not be in
It's a safety issue because, males are biologically, they get testosterone, their muscles are stronger. And so there's a lot of things that I feel like we need clarification on. You can't just, let anybody go in because people are going to abuse it. I'm a coach. Kids abuse the rules all the time. They will push the limits as far as they can. Some people really are transgender and they feel a certain way. And I feel for them. I have no problem with transgender people. But I draw the line at, when they're going into the bathrooms and the locker rooms, especially with our daughters and our kids. I feel like maybe we should wait till they're 18 and out of the school system and they can choose to do that at restaurants and whatever else, but they're not letting men compete in women's sport. They're not. It's a rule in the Supreme Court now about going through women's sports. So, I feel like we should just wait as a district until other districts have gone through this legally and come up with a better plan together as as one big baby. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Darcy Folsom, and I'm a resident of North Berwick, and I have over 20 years of experience doing response and education for sexual assault, dating, and domestic violence and stalking. And what I'm hearing loud and clear is that it's not necessarily the concern about the transgender students, it's about men being in women's restrooms. And so if that is truly the concern, I would love to offer up my expertise in prevention and do some training for the school and to think about how we can actually prevent these moments from happening, the concerns around sexual assault, the concerns around dating violence, because at the root cause, that sounds like what the challenge is and what the concerns are. And so I just wanted to bring us back to that point, is that I've heard lots of people say, I'm okay with trans people, but it's the boys that are going to pretend to be trans to get into a restroom. And so I am clearly very passionate about this work. I love this community. I love a lot of kids that go to school in this community. And I have dedicated my life's work to this. And so I'd be happy to have a further conversation because we can talk about policies all day, but policies are to uphold something that has already occurred. So we're doing a response to something that is already harming our students. And so if we can really think about prevention, the education that we can involve, the bystander intervention that we can engage our students. I heard someone mention earlier, our kids don't necessarily know how to interact with one another. We don't necessarily know how to say, hey, this bullying is not. We can't always rely on the adults to be able to do things. We also need to build those social emotional skills. And so I just wanted to point that out and provide any guidance if that might be. Thank you. Thank you.
Kate, would you like me to read this?
Sorry.
Enough for me to read this.
Josh has one for you. Josh has one who's reading on behalf of a resident.
It's up to first case recognition, it's case decision.
So I think we'll let this young man speak and
I just got one
then,
thing.
if there's no other public input, we'll go ahead with you, Josh.
I kind of want to end it off. I just want to kind of understand what I asked earlier and what a lot of people brought up. So what is the current policy or whatever law is being followed? So are boys allowed in the girls' bathroom or not? That's just kind of what I want to understand, just so it's clear for everyone. So what's the current policy on that?
The current policy,
Can you off your mic?
I don't think
It is, yeah.
that's on.
Yeah. it's just-
we are following the current policies.
So what is
So what
that?
that means is we have bathrooms available to all students. There are bathrooms that are one stall bathrooms. There are multiple stall bathrooms. So students are using those bathrooms.
So can boys go into the girls' bathroom?
Boys, that's all a relative term.
Yes. So
Trying to keep it simple. I really just want to
No,
understand.
that's fine,
No.
and I'm not going to continue.
Yeah, well, I just want to get a yes or no. So I have a penis. Am I allowed to go into the girls'
Do
bathroom?
you identify as a woman? Do you identify as a woman?
Yeah, so I can go into the girls' bathroom?
If that's the hill you want to die on, honey.
Really?
So it's not okay for.
If we have kids asking these questions that go to the school that don't even know what the policies are, we wonder why they're confused. I asked my 26-year-old daughter, I said, do you know what dead naming is? She goes, huh? I said, yeah, I never heard of it either. I had to Google it, but a kid got suspended for dead naming another student. Who is teaching these kids anything? If you're gonna have these policies, do you sit every single student down and say, okay, this is what dead naming is, you can't do this? It's just crazy. And the problem is, too, you got the kids that now, because the school has gone completely insane with this, you got the kids that are doing this to be little jerks, going to the opposite bathrooms and saying, I didn't find as a girl today, so I could use the bathroom, and vice versa, and it's a big freaking joke. Like, what's gonna be done about that?
Are you wanting to answer? No, we can't answer. It's public.
Are we doing, everybody can go multiple times? People have already.
Yes, it's 10 o'clock. In the interest of time, we really would like to have people have one opportunity to speak. You posed a question. It will be answered, but it will not be answered this evening. Joshua, you had a statement to read that was submitted to you.
Yeah, this was an email sent to the board and they asked for it to be read to be put into public record. The people are David, they weren't able to make it because of work, it explains. David and Candace Millard. I'm sorry if I messed up your last name. It's on Long Swamp Road, Berwick. Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am a parent in the MSAD 60 district and I'm here to ask the board to continue prioritizing privacy and safety for female students, particularly in school facilities. Because MSAD 60 serves both middle and high school students under one roof, students at very different developmental stages share bathrooms, locker rooms, and changing areas. That makes thoughtful privacy planning especially important. I want to be clear that I agree with the Maine Human Rights Act protections around non-discrimination and dignity for all students. At the same time, the Act also recognizes the obligation to protect student privacy, especially in sensitive areas. Both responsibilities matter and should be addressed together. Bathrooms and locker rooms are uniquely sensitive environments. Many female students, particularly younger adolescents, experience discomfort related to physical development, menstruation, personal safety, or modesty. When privacy feels insufficient, students may avoid restrooms, opt out of activities, or experience increased stress, which can affect both well-being and learning. I encourage the board to focus on practical, facilities-based privacy options that support all students. These include clearly designated and accessible single-use bathrooms, privacy curtains, screens, or partitions in locker rooms and changing areas, improvements to stall design where possible, and clear expectations that students are not required to change clothes in open areas. It's also important that students can access these options quietly without having to disclose personal information or justify discomfort, and that parents feel comfortable raising privacy concerns as partners with the school. Facilities-based privacy measures are neutral and inclusive. They expand choice, reduce conflict, and help the district meet its obligations under the Maine Human Rights Act while supporting the safety, dignity, and well-being of all students. Thank you for your time and consideration. David and Candace Millard.
Josh. So I think we are pretty close to the 30-minute mark. Is that correct?
I don't know about, I wasn't keeping track of that, but.
All right. From the clock that I'm seeing on our monitor here, we look like we were at 30 minutes. Were there any other, and we'll take one more. Yes.
I'd like to ask a request to reconsider and please let Nick come up and finish his speech. Could you guys please let him come up?
I'm sorry, we will not.
No?
No, thank you. I realize he's driven
He came
it.
an hour and a half away and I came from another town myself and I wanted to hear him speak.
That's fine.
Okay,
Awesome.
okay.
That's a motion, say anything.
We're going to ask for you to be removed again, please.
He's here for us.
Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment? Moved. So we have a motion to adjourn. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Yes.
And opposed? And the motion is passed. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending this.
Thank you.
I made the motion.